Hello everyone and welcome to Time Capsule here on the Games Done Quick Hotfix, the show where we travel back in time to your favorite years in gaming and speedrun our way through popular or influential games released in a particular year. I am your host, Smooth Operative. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight we have some interesting things planned for you, plucked from the year 2001, a Pikmin race, and later a speedrun of Shenmue II. But of course, before we get into the games, let's get to the announcements. Alright, first thing, SGDQ 2021 online will be taking place July 4th through the 11th. Game submissions open starting tomorrow, March 31st until April 11th. So be sure to prep your submissions if you would like to be a part of SGDQ 2021 online from the comfort of your own home. If you are interested in volunteering for SGDQ 2021 online, volunteer submissions will be opening soon, so just check back with gamesdonequick.com for more information on those upcoming dates. If you're watching this on YouTube from the future and would like to support our live content, check out our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/GDQ. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe to any Twitch channel of your choice every month for free, so please consider using your Prime Gaming account to subscribe to the GDQ Twitch channel. That's all I have for the announcements right now, so please allow me to introduce to you the runners for the Pikmin race. That is Strongman Lin and Mokeji. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, so tell us about the plan. It's Pikmin All Parts Race.
Yeah, so All Parts is the category. It's kind of a weird name because we don't really have an any percent or 100% in this game. Essentially, The game ends. You have 30 in-game days to collect all of Olimar ship parts. And the game ends either when you collect all the parts or after 30 days. And it just happens that collecting all the parts is actually quicker than, only collecting the necessary parts and then ending the day a bunch. So it's kind of like a hybrid category.
Okay, that sounds pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, well, welcome again. And whenever both of you are ready to get it started, we've got you with the countdown.
Okay, yeah. I think we will get it started because there's an intro cutscene and a tutorial, so we can talk through the game while that happens.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
You ready, Mocha?
All right, Lynn, you can do the honors.
Okay, all right. 3, 2, 1, start.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so this intro is about a minute long, but I guess we could talk about just the general concept of a Pikmin speedrun. So we have these little alien creatures, these little plants with flowers on their heads, and we control them. We can have up to 100 in the field, and we can use them to either pick up objects, which they'll take to their little alien spaceship, and grow extra ones. So it's like a growth management game. But then also, we just run into an asteroid, and we're crashing on a planet. So we're losing a load of ship parts, and the overall goal is to collect all 30 ship parts, bring them back to the ship. And yeah, that's one time. So we can actually finish this game in 6 in-game days. So if you've played this in the past, that might be pretty mind-blowing if this is the first time you've seen a Pikmin speedrun, because it might have taken you 30 days. It might have been to the wire, but it's actually kind of insane how optimized this game has become as of just 2 years. Yeah, I'd say 2 years is the renaissance of this game as a speedrun.
Yeah, especially considering there are only 5 areas in this game, so we're essentially doing every area that we can. We're collecting everything in one day. So we got to be pretty fast to get everything done before there's a little 15-minute or so day timer at the top of the screen that you'll see starting on day 2. Once the little sun icon goes across the screen, the day ends when that gets to the end. So we have to make sure we get everything done by the end of the day, or else we have to, do an extra in-game day, which takes about, 2 minutes plus however much we have to take to get what we missed. So a bit of a risky speedrun. So hopefully everything should go well.
Yeah, that's right. There's plenty of RNG that can kind of screw us over a little bit. It's not... Well, okay, we can have disasters happen. Obviously, we've been practicing to avoid that.
It's reasonably unlikely that RNG completely bars us from getting a 6-day run, but there is one. Essentially, we have to get nectar to make our Pikmin into flowers, which speeds them up, and there's a 92% chance of getting the nectar there. If we don't, then it will probably just be an extra day, but all things considered...
There are backups.
Yeah, all things considered, there are backups, so it wouldn't be catastrophic.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the actual gameplay that we're doing right now. So yeah, these are the Pikmin that we've got, these little red things, and there's 2 other types as well, which we'll see later. I don't think it's worthwhile explaining the routes that we choose, because those are just, those are the fastest ways that we've come up with to do it. I don't think the logic behind, like, the macro stuff that we do is really too relevant.
Yeah.
But the actual, like, execution and the movement is, I think, what makes this game a really interesting speed game to play. Maybe not to watch, we'll see. Yeah, so what I did just then, for example, was a long throw. You can actually use Olimar's momentum to throw Pikmin further. It's about twice the distance of the purple thing in front of us, the reticule, the aiming bot. So you'll see another long throw there. And it just means that you can put a Pikmin where you need it a lot faster, right? And that is just such a simple mechanic, but it's used so much throughout the run. And then, yeah, there's a few others.
Yeah, it's helpful, like, one, as a speed tactic, just to, get something where you want it faster by throwing it from farther, but there are also a couple places we can use it to kind of exploit the game and get to areas we weren't supposed to go to. Like, for instance, there's one wall that we have to break down that's in the water, so we're supposed to need blue Pikmin for it. But if we throw yellows, we long throw them on top of it, we can actually break it down without blues. And so what we're doing right now, also this is the tutorial day, so there's not actually too much to talk about what we're actually doing here. This is essentially like an auto-scroller for most experienced Pikmin runners. We just kind of collect our 25 Pikmin and then we move on to day 2, which is the real test of strength.
Yeah. That said, though, there is still quite a lot of variance. Just because of very small things, and actually your character has quite slow movement speed. So even RNG such as the location of the Pikmin sprouts when they drop after collecting all these pellets, even that is quite a big deal in terms of just finishing this area quickly for a top level run. So it can be about 10 seconds of variance, which is pretty crazy, in my opinion, for top level gameplay of just a tutorial level. 10 seconds is a huge amount of time.
Yeah, there are a couple interesting things we do here also. One that I just did, I assume Moke did as well, is you saw we waited to activate the cutscene for a little bit on the main engine part. What we were waiting for is we're waiting for the pellets to come into the onion, because during cutscenes most things freeze, but one thing that does not freeze is everything that, like, every interaction with the onion, if it's sucking something up or if it's sprouting seeds or something, those all happen during cutscenes. So we're just kind of overlapping things while we're waiting for the cutscene to end. And now these sprouts are already sprouted by the time we're back, because they were growing during the cutscene.
Yeah, that's actually a really important concept, in my opinion, which is the idea of doing 2 things at the same time, right? So we watched that cutscene and we were sprouting Pikmin. And later on, we'll be doing things like building bridges at the same time as collecting ship parts. And actually, it gets pretty hectic to kind of keep track of. Yeah, I guess this level is good for the framework of overall routing that you'll see later. But yeah, in general, doing something at the same time as another thing is faster than waiting for one thing to happen. I know that's kind of vague and nebulous, but it kind of makes sense. Anyway, we're just finishing up here now.
Yeah. One other concept that we use a little bit in Impact Site, but doesn't, not too much, but it'll come into play later, is what's on camera and what's not on camera. Essentially, while the main engine was coming back to the ship there, I was keeping it on camera, because I'm not sure if we know why, but it actually comes back to the ship about a second faster if it's on camera the whole time. And so there's other things like that later in the run where, like, enemies, if they're not on camera and they're not near Pikmin, they're essentially deloaded, so, we don't have to worry about something if it's, some enemy we woke up. As long as it's not near our Pikmin and we're not looking at it, we don't really have to worry about it. So you'll see a lot of, really, like, intentional camera work later in the run.
Yeah, we'll point that out as well when that happens.
Yeah. All right, so we've just ended the day. This is the end of day cutscene that you have to watch at the end of every day. That's why it takes, extra 2 minutes or something if you have to take an extra in-game day. This is actually skippable on the Wii version. We're playing the GameCube version. It's kind of just a preference thing. But that's one of the reasons the Wii version is actually a faster version of this game.
Yeah, so this is from 2001, which is where we are now. But yeah, the Wii remake came out in, I want to say, 2011? No, that doesn't.
Yeah, it was several years later. I don't remember exactly how long.
Much earlier than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Wii remake actually does have a few more mechanics that I think if you've played Pikmin, I mean, it seems like the more common one that people say they've played the Wii version instead of the GameCube one. But me and Lynn, we both grew up playing the GameCube one, and I mean, it's just what we're used to.
Yeah.
So yeah, at that point, it really is just preference. Because in my opinion, they're separate games anyway, and there's a kind of separated leaderboard for GameCube and Wii. Yeah, there's plenty of differences that make them just separate games. So yeah, we don't put pressure on runners to play the Wii one, even though technically it's the fastest way to finish a game called Pikmin 1. This is just our preferred way.
Yeah. Oh, and one of the things actually is we're playing on the English version. Pikmin's one of the kind of weird games where the English version is actually faster than the Japanese version, because all the text, as you've seen, can just be scrolled immediately, and if you just mash B, all text takes the same amount of time regardless of language. But there's the last part in the game is slightly heavier on the Japanese version, so it moves a little slower. So it's just a little bit faster to run on the NA version.
Okay, well, this is the main obstacle in our speedrun of this, where I feel like maybe 70% of runs would reset in this area if we were going for a PB and stuff. Just because Forest of Hope is actually the hardest area to finish in one day. Even though it's the first main area, there's plenty of ship parts that you're not supposed to get without blue Pikmin, which we'll see in a different area. You can't unlock blues in this area. So there are a couple of tricks that we have to do to get around that, and also, on top of that, we have to grow all of our yellows and all of our reds. So yeah, there's a huge time constraint.
Yeah, and so what you just saw there, that's the nectar that we need for our Pikmin. I unfortunately did not get nectar on my first patch, although I got it on the second one, so as things are okay for now. But that's still a big time loss. Nectar later in the run.
Yeah, I got mine, by the way.
Yeah, because I didn't get nectar there, that's actually going to make it pretty hard to do the one-day Forest of Hope already. It's just that close. But hopefully, if I get a little lucky later, I can still pull it off.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, if there's a 10-second variance in a tutorial level, in an area that's as complex as this, I mean, a 30-second variance to be able to beat the game in one day, or the area in one day, is actually really tight. Anyway, Lynn, I didn't explain the water drowning mechanic, so I don't know if you're doing that right now.
So this is another kind of exploit you're supposed to need blues for. Blues can go in water without drowning. You're supposed to bring them over here so you can build this bridge. But you can reset. Pikmin that aren't blues have a drown timer, which is the amount of time they can stay in water and get to the other side of some land bridge or something before they die. And it just so happens that flowers have just enough speed to get to the other side without drowning, so we can put 8 of our Pikmin on the bridge there, and that'll be built by the end of the day. And you may, one of the reasons I guess that it's a little harder to talk right here is that we're growing all our Pikmin here, and this is actually one of the most kind of intensive parts of the day. It's like kind of subtly easy to lose time here. If you have a slightly off throw where you didn't kill a bulwark or something. So we have to be really precise with our throws to make sure that we get everything done quickly, so we can finish everything by the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's fairly telling that a game for speedrunners will play something and it will make it look easy, right? Yeah, there's definitely plenty of concepts here that we're not talking about, which are require massive precision or accuracy just to be able to go fairly quickly. And that's it's this first quarter of the day that kind of sets apart top runners like Lynn and me versus people who do different routes. Just because we've played the game for so long that we're able to skip over things and make it look easy. Okay, well here we have the yellow Pikmin. So these ones are different from red Pikmin, which kind of don't really have too many superpowers. These ones can be thrown much higher, so that's used in certain puzzle mechanics later. And they can also pick up bombs, which you'll see us take massive advantage of in a second.
Yeah, bombs are super useful, but they are also quite risky, as they are bombs. So we got to be really careful to not, throw any bombs that we don't want to. And if they do explode, make sure they're not near our Pikmin.
Yeah, naturally you can lose a run to bombs. If they blow up, 20 or 30 Pikmin in your party, that's over. Or if they kill even a couple of yellows. I'm growing extra yellows. Are you growing extra yellows to be safe?
I
or are you
am.
still going with 50?
I'm gonna grow 1 extra yellow just to be a little safe. Although I think I'm slow enough here. I probably won't be able to get to 1 day anyway. But just to be safe, I'll do it.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's best. Yeah, we only usually grow 15 yellows. But I'm getting 17 just to be safe because it's actually so easy for just a random Pikmin to die to several different mechanics, which we haven't talked about. Yeah, we'll talk about tripping. It's actually possible for a Pikmin to decide to just trip over, and that's just random chance. If that happens, we have to dismiss our Pikmin, and then it immediately stands up. But if we didn't do that, it would take a couple of seconds to stand up, and that's just time that we don't want to waste. Yeah, it's actually really long. But if a Pikmin trips in front of an enemy, for example, the enemy will run over and eat it. It just is defenseless. And that can just even happen where we can't save it. Just straight up, we just can't save that Pikmin's life, so we have to let it die. That's why growing a couple extras and losing the time for it is probably worthwhile.
Yeah.
Anyway, you saw me throw my bombs from a distance at this gate, and it destroys gates. So that's kind of the main mechanic of these bombs. All right, and this is another thing.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just going to talk about this box push because you would normally use blues for that. You just throw them, walk in the water, and then throw them on the other side. But you can just throw your Pikmin on top of the box and then C-stick them to the other side. So that's just fairly clever use of actually throwing Pikmin. Just getting around that, and then we're at Snagrets.
Yeah, Snagrets is the next big RNG moment in the run, both because you need nectar there, but also every time the Snagret comes out of the ground, after the first time at least, there is a 1 in 4 chance of it coming out of the ground slowly, which if it comes out of the ground slowly, then you can one-cycle it and just kill it immediately, which obviously saves a lot of time, because every extra cycle is it's an extra like 7 seconds or something.
Yeah. And what you're seeing right now is the slow ones. Where it, the fast get outs, which means that I can't attack it and kill it. Yeah, Pikmin do more damage to the head part, and if it gets stuck in the ground for a second, like this, they can swarm its head, and it's gone. All right, now for the final bit that I'm worried about, which is nectar at Snagrets. I got one! Nice. Okay, nice. It's not over. I kind of want another one, though, so I'm going to be safe.
That's kind of the moment in the run, if you get nectar that you're like, okay, this can continue. I don't have to reset again. Nice.
So what is the importance of the nectar?
Oh yeah, sorry. So nectar turns, you can see on the heads of the Pikmin, some of them are leaves, some of them are buds, and some of them are flowers. If you get nectar and the Pikmin drink that nectar, they turn into flowers, which it doesn't do any more damage, but they are able to walk faster and everything they carry moves faster, so obviously for a speedrun it is quite helpful to go fast, So.
Okay, cool.
And I got nectar as well, so that is nice.
Nice, okay.
See.
So neither of us will restart.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right, go. And so now, you see it's already like past halfway through the day, and we're only now collecting our first part. That's basically why this day is so hard, is because you need to grow like 100 Pikmin first, which takes half a day, and then you collect everything later.
And what is the maximum number of Pikmin you can have with you at any given time?
Oh yeah, so there's the 3 numbers at the bottom of the screen. The one on the left is the most important one, really. That's how many are in our party. And we can have up to 100 in our party, just because you can have up to 100 on the field. That second number is how many are on the field, and then the third number, the farthest to the right one, that one we don't really pay attention to much. That's just how many total we've grown that are alive.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so I don't know where you are, Lynn, but I'm at the Nova Blaster section, where there's actually a couple mechanics like this one where the Pikmin on the wall is distracting this Bulborb. So I don't have to kill it, I just let it run into the wall while a ship part walks past it. And then straight onto this long throw bomb on this water gate, where we can actually just throw yellows over the gate and then they'll still bomb the gate, so we don't actually need blues for that.
Yeah.
So a lot of mechanics back to back there. And off-cameraing as well, which I didn't even mention.
Yeah, you'll see me do it here. I'm going to essentially have 2 Pikmin touch that Bulborb to wake him up, and then I off-screen him so that I can get far enough away from him that when he loads back in, he'll see that Pikmin that I threw up on the ledge there, and I'll walk over there, and I can just be on my way here, grab my part, and the part will go by him without him seeing.
All right, and here's something else as well. So I actually whistled my Pikmin off the Nova Blaster, that's the name of that ship part, before it reached the ship. There's actually a couple of reasons for that. So like I said before, you want 2 things happening at the same time, so I'm not going to just wait for it. But the other main thing is that there's some cutscene skips, which we haven't even talked about yet, which every time you collect a ship part, there's a cutscene. And you can actually skip that by doing a couple of different things. And one of those, just had a death. One of those ways is to bring up a text box using a different ship part. So you'll see me go for that in a second. I just had a death though, so that's a slight problem.
Is it a yellow or a red?
I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter. I have extras.
Ah, okay. All right, nice. Yeah, I assume Moke is probably getting close to the whatever it's called, the Armored Cannon Beetle arena.
Yeah.
That is another part that, for a casual player, would be maybe a little intimidating, because that's one of the enemies that can like kind of just wipe your party if you're not careful. Like, they're really catastrophic.
Right. But you're going to see me putting it on camera now, and there's a bit of a manipulation where I'm loading it because it's on camera, and I'm hoping that it'll do a certain thing, but it didn't. It walked to the left. I'm not sure what I should do.
If you have 1 extra Pikmin, you can... Well, I guess you can also kill it if you have enough time.
No, I'm going to kill it. I'm just going to kill it.
Yeah.
So, oh god. So it's actually kind of really punishing, this bit. So we don't want to usually kill the ACB, the Armored Cannon Beetle, because it's so slow to do that. But if you do kill it, you might not be able to beat the area in 1 day because of the in-game time. So it's a bit of a risk and reward if you don't kill it, and then just hope that the Pikmin will pick up the part and carry it past it without dying. But it's a very punishing failure. It will just kill all 30 of those Pikmin, so that's not something I want to risk right now, and I'm probably going to have to do this area in 2 days.
Yeah, which is fine, because I'm as well, so...
There you go, it's a close race.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so yeah, see the Cannon Beetle moved to the right. Actually, you could barely see it. I took it off camera almost immediately, but he's on the right side of the arena now, so I don't have to kill him.
Yeah. And that's another little touch of RNG. Usually you can manipulate it by having it on screen, but I just didn't get lucky enough.
All right, yeah, I just had the... Ooh, I'm not going to get the area cutscene here. Dang it, I was close. So I just had the end of day, watch out, it's about to be sunset. Get all your Pikmin back to the ship text box pop up. And I know, basically, based on where I am, I'm definitely not going to get it in 1 day, so I'm just going to grab my Pikmin that are on the bridge that I built earlier, save them, and then just hurry up the ship part that's coming in now.
And I'm going to be very close as well. There's actually a countdown at the end of the day, and I think I'll probably have my ship parts about 1 of those in-game seconds away from being collected, roughly, based on my internal headcanon. So we'll see. It's going to be really, really close, but it's not going to make it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, there's a trip there. Also, while we're coming back from the Armored Cannon Beetle arena, we are, I know I do, I'm sure Moke probably does as well. We are looking at that, the number, the 99 that I have, it's the middle number. Because if that goes down, that means that the Armored Cannon Beetle killed someone, and that's not very good. So...
Yeah, I'm gonna whistle my Pikmin off. So I went for a cutscene skip there as well, but I still failed it, so I've not hit any cutscene skips. There's a method to buffer these text boxes as they happen, but it is actually frame perfect to be able to get the cutscene skip on the first try. After that, though, you can just buffer it, and it's still frame perfect, but it's technically practicable, so it's not that big of a deal. So if you tend to aim to get the ship part entering the ring in front of the ship about 4 frames before it happens, bring up a text box, and then buffer the rest. And then if you get the cutscene skip, it saves a few seconds. 7 is the maximum that you can save.
Yeah, and also one other thing about that is the 2 methods that we use to bring up text boxes to skip the part cutscenes are either we press A on the ship or we press A on a part. Generally, we try to use a part because it actually brings up a text box 2 frames later when you press A on a ship part. So it just, if you're 4 frames away, you only have to buffer 2 more text boxes with a part, but you would have to buffer 4 with the ship because it's only 1 frame for that one.
So how did you finish up your Forest of Hope? How did that go?
I had the radiation canopy come in. I just have to get the Sagittarius and whatever it's called. Shock Absorber, I want to say it's called. I always forget what this one's called, so yeah.
Yeah, I ended with them in the landing site, just in front of the ship, like I said. All right, so I just got one cutscene and the other one. Yeah, okay, I just got both. But yeah, that's literally all. So I just landed in this area to just finish up collecting, and then I'm ending the day.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, but yeah, that's how tight it is. That's how punishing it can be for just top runners even, going for the 6-day route. Like, we lost, a little bit of time. I lost a Pikmin once. I made 1 mistake, and then that's it. I can't beat it in 1 day anymore.
Yeah, I lost 1 Pikmin and had, no nectar. I got essentially bad RNG in the landing site from the first patch, which wastes, 15 seconds or something. So it's it can be quite punishing.
But luckily that is kind of the worst out of the way. Sorry.
Oh, sure. I was just gonna ask if either of you ever got anxiety when you first started running this game with the message like "Hurry up."
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely like first running this game, and also as a kid, like when you're playing the game,
it's like
you're
a big
oh god, I gotta hurry. So.
Yeah, I think actually casually, this game is challenging to get into, specifically because of the in-game day count. Not because people have finished the game and lost to the in-game day count of 30 days, but because the idea of having 30 days is just terrifying. It's looming over you. It's like the Majora's Mask moon. It's like always present, and you can always see it. It's in the top right corner of the screen. It says day, and definitely for me, it was terrifying. Just the concept of not being able to finish the game, and then you get a game over. I think even for 2001, that was a bit. It was a bit rare to see game over in a game.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are in the next area, and there's a couple things that need to go correctly here, but not as many as punishing as in Forest of Hope, like you saw earlier. So I'm now dealing with this guy, the bread bug. So I need him to pick up this pellet, not anything else that I had in front of me that I just dealt with. And now when I damage him once, the Pikmin will pick up the pellet and they'll do a little tug of war with it, and they'll grab it all the way back to the ship. And then when he's sucked into the onion, he dies and he drops the ship part. So we do need to kill it. That's actually an RNG part of this level, where it might show up at any point in the day, but I got lucky that it showed up immediately. That's where we want to do it, really.
Yeah.
It's kind of a load off our minds.
It is pretty likely that it shows up at the beginning of the day, but also you need like a pellet to be there, a random drop from an enemy. So you need a couple things to go well, but I'd say probably like 90% of the time, it is there at the beginning of the day, which is nice because that makes the Beatty fight, which is this boss later, a little bit easier in my opinion. So
yeah.
Which also that would seem weird. That seems weird, right? That like, oh, this random enemy was here, so that means that this boss fight later will be easier. It's even weirder than you probably think it is. The reason being, essentially that boss, it drops into the arena either quickly or slowly, depending on whether a sprout is in the ground near an onion, And you know, if you have brought back the bread bug, then there will be a sprout in the ground. So that's why having the bread bug be earlier makes things easier. So it's just like it's just such a weird like quirk of the game that seems like these two things are not related at all, but somehow they are. So
Yep. Okay, and you'll see me coming up on 2 boss fights now. This is technically a boss, but you just flip it over and then make sure your Pikmin is safe and just attack it from the bottom, and there you go, it's dead. And now we have the actual scary boss, probably the hardest boss fight in the game, and that's including the final boss, by the way. So I'm just gonna concentrate and make sure I don't lose any Pikmin on it.
Yeah, I would say BD is scarier than the final boss. Not necessarily because it's that much harder, although I would say it is pretty hard to like be consistent at it. But if you lose to more than a couple Pikmin on it, then you kind of just can't complete the route that we want to do. Whereas you can lose up to like 30 Pikmin to the final boss and still be okay.
Yes. Okay. Really easy and good fight.
Nice.
So it actually has RNG as to how many Pikmin it flings off when it shakes, and I had quite a low count, so it wasn't really too problematic.
All right, I got early bread bug as well, so hopefully I should have a cooperative BD. One other thing you see us do a lot, like I'm doing right here, is we don't actually kill that many enemies. We just try to distract a lot of them. Like I just got that Wollywog out of the way. It just takes a lot of time to kill enemies, so getting them out of the way is just safer and quicker.
Yeah, that's right. For the harder levels, the reason they're easier for us as top-level players is because we just don't kill the enemies that are actually hard to defeat. So it's kind of funny. But I'm going to do something here that's kind of intentional, and I'm sorry, so cover your eyes, please. I'm killing these 3 Pikmin. I have to do that because for the route to work, I need 7 slots available in the overworld, and the only way of doing that is if I have 93 Pikmin in the overworld, because as you know, 100 is the maximum. So there they go. Unfortunately, that's just the fastest way to deal with it if you have extras. But I'm now going to start growing blue Pikmin, and you're going to see why I had to do that. Oh.
I unfortunately had like over half of my Pikmin get shaken off of BD, which made the fight. I didn't whistle them properly, so he unfortunately crushed too many.
Right, it's okay though. Remember the backup.
Yeah.
And it's actually still possible to complete this area in one day, even if you have... I would consider that a major disaster, having too many deaths at BD long legs.
Yeah.
So this area still isn't as punishing as far as you hope, but I hope you can make it. That's not what you want to see. And you can just practice BD, you can practice these bosses as much as you want. Sometimes, you just get unlucky combined with just a little bit of inaccuracy from your whistle or whatever, or your timing. And then from that, it's just, it stems into worse problems.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I don't know if I've ever actually seen that many Pikmin get shaken off of BD. So that was unfortunate.
Yeah, you want to try to aim to have all of your Pikmin attack the core of the body in the same spot, because then they'll land in the same place when they get shaken off. Okay. So I'm now growing my blues. Those are my 7, and I just got the 100 Pikmin in the area, blah, 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 text box, which means, you can't have 100 Pikmin or more in the area. Sorry, you can have 100, but you can't have more. So the main reason for actually having a maximum in the field is because any Pikmin I grow now in the blue onion will stay inside the blue onion. They won't get sprouted. They won't get flicked out. So I won't have to pluck those Pikmin later. So that's 33 Pikmin extra that I'm just going to withdraw from the onion instead of plucking. And that's a massive time save over casual runs. So here you'll see 007, that's the number of Pikmin in my party, but my Pikmin are actually really far away from me. They stay in your party, even like massively far away. And the reason I do that is so that when I run around this corner, there they are, and I'll carry on collecting this stuff. Just a clever little optimization. All right, I'm not going to get these massive important cutscene skips because this part just got collected, but that's fine. What's most important really is that you're able to beat the area in a day. It doesn't really matter about cutscene skips too much.
Yeah, cutscene skips also
nice
are more of a high-level thing to go for because generally you have to waste a little bit of like in-game time to go for them. So it's most players, if they really are just care about the day count and they're short on time by the end of the day, they really care more about getting everything done and not losing the 2 minutes rather than saving 6 seconds or something from getting cutscene skip.
All right, well, my forest naval's going pretty well so far. I didn't have any compound time loss.
Yeah, that's another big concept in Pikmin is a lot of the time, if you lose time on something like I lost time on BD, that doesn't just lose time from having a 7-second slow BD fight. You also lose time because then you come back later and you were supposed to catch something before it got too far, but because you were slow on BD, then that thing's farther away, so you have to travel an extra 3 seconds to grab that thing. So that's a really big concept in Force Naval in particular. Is one thing slowing you down slows everything else down.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna do something kind of tricky right now. After this cutscene, where I'm just trying to flower all of my Pikmin, but with one bit of nectar. And this control is, hopefully I'll make it look easy, like I said before, but okay, yeah. But that is actually really tricky to get. I mean, it's hard to describe how even the most minute details in this game are so tricky if you try to do them. It's just, this game, I mean, it kind of controls fairly jankily. If you can make this game look like it's not jank, then you're doing well. But yeah, just even getting from one point to another is massive jank that you have to overcome. C-sticking all the time, just moving in a straight line in this game is hard. Like straight up, it is, isn't it?
That's true, yeah. There's actually a weird mechanic where, so there's the overhead camera, like this that I'm showing now, and then there's the 45-degree angle camera that I'm showing right now. If you have the overhead camera, you actually don't walk in a straight line if you hold up. You walk kind of like slightly diagonally relative to wherever true north, quote-unquote, is in the game. So it's kind of weird. There's just a lot of
this was a release title for GameCube, so I guess they put most of the time into polishing the actual gameplay versus the mechanics, which they then later remastered in Pikmin 2, in my opinion. Okay, and use these blues to destroy this vent, and now the only time that we really need to use yellows is right now, where I throw the yellows up the ledge, and then up another ledge that normal Pikmin wouldn't be able to get up to, but yellows specifically, thanks to their height advantage, they can get that down. But I'm zooming the camera in here because if I didn't, the physics in the game applies to parts that are on screen but not off screen. And actually, if it falls down a high height, which is exactly why we needed yellows in the first place, the Pikmin can get flung off it, and the part can just fly all over the place. It's actually kind of insane how insane the ship part can act and behave if it's on camera. So we just have to make sure that's like step one, zoom the camera in.
Yeah.
Okay, and yeah.
Yeah, it can be so
mile a minute at the
detrimental
moment.
That it can actually bounce off the edge of the world and soft lock your save file. And if you come back the next day, it won't be reset in the correct place or something. It'll still be in the void and you just can't get it.
Yeah. So I did another lure here. Obviously, we're not killing these wollywogs. There's no real reason to. We just lure them out of the way, and they won't attack these Pikmin as they come out of the water. Oh, and I don't think we mentioned, by the way, this is a bit of a late time to mention it, but reds are immune to fire. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now we know.
Yeah, we don't really talk about it because it just doesn't come into play all that often. Oh, I got an unlucky thing here. So this is one of those things that can happen with Pikmin just kind of being bad at their jobs, is that guy was just walking into a wall for whatever reason. So yeah, that's something that can happen that you gotta watch out for.
All right, so these are the final parts coming in now. And it's actually, in my opinion, quite an impressive section just because you've got everything moving in and getting collected. That's 4 ship parts being collected all at once. So all of my Pikmin, except for these 2 yellows that I'm using right now, are helping carry stuff back to the ship. So it's really impressive multitasking for the people who found this route. Like, I'd love to say I was involved in discovering the actual route that we use, but I wasn't even close to that. Honestly, it's really impressive just having everything collect all at the same time. Like, I can't do anything else to speed this up. I just have to wait. But I can get cutscene skips, so let's hope for the Quattro.
Yeah, Force Naval is huge on cutscene skips. I think there's only like maybe one piece that you can't get a cutscene skip on, but everything else you can.
Yes, okay, I got all 4.
Nice.
All right, and that's it, Forest Naval.
I'm also on the section right now that OK was on with the fire geysers. This is a huge section where you got to watch out for tripping, because if a blue or a yellow trips and they walk into the fire, you have very little time to save them. You can whistle them to save them if they're on fire, but it doesn't give you a whole lot of time to do so. And if they die, then you don't have enough Pikmin to either get the one part that's in the water that you need, or to get the one part that's up on the high ledge. You got to be real vigilant here.
I just realized I made a mistake. I can recover from this, but I left 2 Pikmin behind there. So I think they must have let go from when I loaded up the part that I got out of the water that carried with 40 blues. When I swapped the other Pikmin on, a couple of them must have let go. And that can happen. If you load up a part, Pikmin can just suddenly decide to let go of it. And because I didn't check that, they were left behind. Kind of sad, but I can just regrow here. It's not a problem. Yeah, this is like a rest day.
Yeah, and Backside 2 is it's just a nice old breather. Not too much can go wrong. So.
Yeah, and it's the only area that we have to visit twice. Even though there are only 2 ship parts here, we still have to come twice because the day ends immediately after the tutorial. And there's no known way, even if the tutorial didn't end, to collect the final part. So even a 5-day non-RTA, just a challenge run, as far as we're aware, is not possible.
Yeah, and even if it was, it would probably be a little bit slower, honestly, than 6-day, just because you need to get 90 blues for Distant Spring later anyway. And a really good way to get your extra 50 blues is to get the 1 pearl in the impact site when you return.
All right. So what you saw me do there was, oof. Wow, I'm having a lot more deaths than I usually do. But I threw some bombs at the clam, and that it took 2 bombs to kill it, and this pearl is now being collected. And this pearl is actually it's really valuable. It's worth 50 Pikmin. So I'm just going to withdraw all of my Pikmin to 100 in the field, then put them back in and withdraw the blues that will generate because of this pearl. So that's why we route the overall, the areas that we visit on the days that we do, because it's better to get all of the blues that you need for the final level and then go to the final level rather than growing and then coming back here at the end. Just going to grow a couple extras for safety.
Alright, and I am unfortunately having to take an extra day because my mistake at BD, but again, it's pretty much just a collect all the parts that are already near the landing site. So.
Alright, I'm definitely guilty of doing some marathon strats here. Just making sure I have extra blues, because it's really easy to lose some in Distant Spring. And the way that this run is going, I'm actually losing a few more Pikmin than I'd like to. So yeah, I'm just going to play it safe. And probably taking some unnecessary time loss in making sure that these are flowered. But if I flower them in Distant Spring, Again, that loses just the tiniest touch of time, and time I spend in this level versus in the other level will make that next level more consistent. I'd rather play it that way to be safe. Okay, but yeah, casually, Distant Spring is probably the hardest level because there's 10 ship parts, which is the most per any level, and the scariest enemies.
Yeah, bull bears are pretty terrible for a casual player. They can like easily eat maybe 30 Pikmin or something before you kill them. But luckily, I think, yeah, pretty much every bull bear in the area you can just distract and not have to worry about.
Yeah, we never have to kill them. Okay, final area. Oh, well, not final area. I always consider this the final area because the actual final boss level is fairly consistent. This is the final area that matters in terms of just losing a load of time.
That's interesting.
So you never know. You never know. I could easily have some disasters, even though this is the easiest level for the speedrun. It's far from over. Ooh, I just realized I made a mistake.
So I'm not sure where that piece is going, but that's a little odd. I've never seen that before, but that's okay. I actually lost some yellows there, but that's actually not the end of the world because from here on we only need about maybe 10 yellows for the rest of the run.
So what happened? Sorry.
So my antioxidant filter was just off the beach basically, and I put some Pikmin on it to get it back into the ship, and it took a route where it went way back to all of the, it went back through all of the blowhogs for whatever reason, and some yellows died to fire.
Oh, yeah. No, that does happen.
It'd be okay, though.
So, yeah, there's a couple of glitches due to the way that carrying works. Just the way that, I guess, the developers decided to route in Pikmin carrying. There's like waypoints in the map that if a Pikmin is close to a certain waypoint, even if it's further away from the ship in terms of just carrying distance, it might still carry it to that waypoint. And they kind of have a priority system as well. So it's not uncommon for that to happen. For me, at least.
Yeah. All right, at least I got the first try cutscene skip there. That's pretty nice.
Right. So what you saw me do just there was kill this puffy blowhog. And I've loaded my Pikmin onto the part, and I'm literally just running away. I've not killed any enemies yet. That Wollywog I ran past, those water enemies as well, water dumples they're called. I didn't kill them either. But it should still route back and make it back to the ship just fine. And here's another very important section. This enemy is the main reason that this level is impossible sometimes. It's called a snitch bug, and they are actually free-roaming enemies. And they're not hard to kill. As you can see, I've already killed it, basically. But they're hard to deal with, and they can appear at any point in the run, basically.
Yeah, in an area where, having one fewer Pikmin than you need really matters, it's annoying to have an enemy that is specifically designed to grab, like, one Pikmin. So it can be quite problematic.
Yeah. So they actually only appear after day 4. And if you're really fast and you follow a different route, you can get here before then. And you can get here on day 4 where snitch bugs aren't a problem. But overall, unfortunately, finishing every area the day that you get there is the fastest way to do things. And so we can't come here on day 4. We can't skip the snitch bugs, basically. So we just have to deal with them. And there's one more I have to deal with. But so far, it's looking good.
Yeah, Moke and I will actually be doing different routes in Distant Spring. My route is, there's like one new trick that was found that saves like 30 seconds or so. So I'll be doing a little bit of a different style, but Moke is a little more comfortable with the other route, so that's he does that one. All right, and I see I only have 8 yellows here, so I am going to as well grab a few extras, just like Moke did in the impact site here, because I do need 10.
Nice.
And some deaths can happen, so I'll probably, get up to 12 maybe.
All right, it's actually possible to destroy these black gates in one cycle, like that. Yeah,
Nice.
Okay, it worked. And now I have the snitch bug flying over to me. This is actually so close to optimal.
Yeah.
Seeing the snitch bug first and then seeing it in the landing site is so good. So I mentioned doing 2 things at once earlier. Well, the massage machine is being collected, so I don't have to wait for it, while I'm also dealing with the snitch bug, so that saves me time later. And I just whistle my Pikmin off, and I carry on. Okay, I'm so happy now. Both snitch bugs are dealt with. You don't have to see a disgusting display of RNG.
Having 2 snitch bugs dealt with is really nice, because Distance Spring, for a speedrun, isn't actually that hard, except for the snitch bugs, so just having them out of the way really makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, I hope I haven't jinxed it, or rather, I hope I haven't jinxed you.
Yeah, we'll see.
I hope your snitch bugs are as good as mine. Oh, that is not correct. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so it's kind of rare to have killed both snitch bugs, which is what got me a little confused. I was switching up my route. But this is the first thing I need to do. All right. So here's a fun little trick. You can put your bombs in the skull, and then you can just throw your Pikmin over this wall. You don't have to go all the way around. You can just throw them straight over the wall. Like that. I messed up a little bit, but it's not very precise. I just messed up. But there you go. Just a cool little time save. All right, I'm going to try and save these Pikmin. There's no guarantees. They might die as well. Ooh. Cool. Kind of a tense moment, but it's no biggie if they die. I've still got extras.
Now I'm going to be flowering my in here. Nice little quick nectar, I'll take that. Those nectar patches actually, the way they work is each blade of grass individually has a certain, it's got about an 8% chance of giving you nectar. So that patch there actually has 40 blades of grass, so it's like super likely to give you nectar. The ones in Forest of Hope only have 30 each, that's why sometimes you'll get no nectar in them.
Oh. Okay. So
That's
I
not
had a
a great
trip
sound.
happen. No, it's not. You never like to hear that. But I had a trip happen. It's not a problem. It's just time loss. I didn't see it because I was zooming the camera in while manipulating enemies. But essentially, it tripped and fell behind, so I was not able to do the normal like manipulation for this enemy here.
Oh, with the bull bears?
No, actually, Zirconium Rotor, the Wollywog.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, trips are particularly bad, I feel like, in Distant Spring, because a lot of the times you have, 100 Pikmin or 70 Pikmin with you, so trips are really likely to happen. And you're always walking, like, right next to bull bears, so if you trips, a lot of the time they trip into a bull bear.
Speaking of bull bears,
things happen.
Yeah. Well, you saw me do something a little weird right there, where I grabbed a stray blue, and I just threw it in an area where there is some bull bears, and then I woke up the bull bears. What are you doing? Do you want that blue to die? Well, actually, yes, I do. So those two bull bears will
but
be...
it's a sacrifice that must be made.
Yes, it's a sacrifice I am willing to make. But those two bull bears will be attracted to it while awake, and they will not kill ship parts that walk past. They'll still be trying to attack that blue Pikmin versus maybe more important Pikmin that are walking past it. Now I'm waking up another Ball Bear. This is for the main glitch in the game. So this game is actually kind of mostly glitchless if you exclude area cutscene skips. But here we go. It's going to bite me and push me into the wall. And when that happens, the game gets confused, like you say, and it pushes me into the wall. It prioritizes your position on the map in terms of X and Y versus your height. So the only place the game knows to put Olimar is to increase his height, put him on top of the wall, and you clip up there. The reason I do that is so that I can get this thing down with only blues. And there you go. Normally you would have to grow yellows or bring yellows over there, throw them up with their additional height that you, when you throw yellows. But instead, clipped up the wall and got it down with blues.
And normally I would leave this piece be, but I do want to make sure I did go the right way. Because the blowhog was a little far to the left there, that piece can take 2 different routes back to the ship. The one that it's taking now, all I have to do is distract this one Wollywog, and that'll ensure that it's safe. If it takes the other route, it actually walks by some enemies and they can eat it. So I just wanted to really make sure that it was going the right way.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, so you might have noticed that I ran past that Ball Bear there. It's still awake, but because it's off camera, it won't be a problem for the Pikmin that are going to walk past.
All right, and I had a blue trip there, but I know that the line it's going to take is not going to be near the Bull Bear, so I can just keep going without having to wait for it. Oh, that's weird. I've never actually seen that happen. So something that can happen with yellows when they try to grab bombs is they'll all try to grab the same bomb, and for some reason they just decide that they can't grab it. And so if they all decide they can't grab it, they won't dismiss themselves. They'll just stay there kind of dumbfounded, and you have to do something to update their state. Either grab the bomb that they're all looking at or whistle them. So there I just whistled them and then put them on the bombs again.
Oh dear. Okay, so at the high level, if you want a PB, you kind of have to get all of these area cutscene skips that we mentioned a little while ago. But I was too slow at a certain section just now, so these parts arrived at the ship early. And I didn't want that because I was going to use those to get the area cutscene skip. So I'm going to have to use this one, which is going to be a bit of a challenge. So I'm going to hope I can get it. And if I do, I'm going to freak out. So.
Yeah, one of the things that hopefully does not happen to Moke is that all the parts have their own hitboxes. And you can have what we call a traffic jam, where two different parts are trying to come into the ship at the same time. But because they're so close, then they just bump into each other, and it kind of messes up the timing because neither of them can get in because the other one's blocking them.
Okay, I was probably too late. Come on. No, yeah, I was way too late. Traffic jam. Fantastic. Yeah. I think it's a cute name for a really horrible thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cute game that has a lot of horrible things happen in it. All right, so now I'm on the lookout.
And the more you understand about it.
Hopefully I see at least one. Would be really nice. And I don't, which is... I do see one, actually. So I'm just going to kill it now.
Yeah, you probably should. I think I know where you are. That would make sense. Okay, but I've just finished up Distant Spring. That was the final part, and that cutscene showed me that I'd unlocked the final area. So we'll go there. And so yeah, so far this run has been actually fairly good for me. I managed to finish Forest Naval and Distant Spring in one day with kind of no dramas. But unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. Sometimes you do have dramas or disasters.
Yeah.
Like what happened to Lynn in Forest Naval. So yeah, I'm leaving more Pikmin behind, but unfortunately this is intended. Brutal though. Just look at that. Oof.
Yeah, you don't want to lose, too many, because it becomes harder to get the actual Sprout on the final boss if you're low on Pikmin. But it is faster, so sometimes you just take that. take that loss.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, final area. I'm never going to use reds again. Reds are what are reds? I don't remember. Here I'm going to just remove 94 blues, and then the rest will be yellows. And you'll see why in a second, because I'm going to have 93. I'm going to have bomb rocks, which I'll use to attack the final boss. So casually, a lot of people don't know this, but actually the best strat to deal with the final boss called Ball Blacks is to bomb it. Like with a lot of things in this game, bombs are the fastest way to deal. But here we go. 63 on this bridge. Do you know, I think we got this far without ever mentioning one of the most important mechanics.
Oh yeah, C-stick throwing.
C-stick throwing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so common, and it's such an important part of our toolkit that we just overlook it. But it's so important. It's when you use the C-stick to make sure that there's always a Pikmin next to Olimar, and when there is, you're able to throw a Pikmin on the next frame.
Yeah, so if you were to just, mash A as fast as you can and wait for a Pikmin to come to you, you throw a Pikmin every, half second or something, which is kind of slow. But if you just make sure there's always a Pikmin next to you, you can throw it. Is it 30 frames, or 30 times a second,
yeah.
Or 15? Okay.
It's 15.
All right, now this piece, contrary to what you want in Force Enable, where you want to have the piece off screen while it's falling, that piece actually you want on screen for whatever reason. The Pikmin will fall off of it if you're not looking at it, so you want to make sure it's on screen. There's not really
right here, you saw me. Sorry, I just threw my Pikmin over the wall and skipped a puzzle that you would normally use red Pikmin for, and now I'm fighting the final boss. So it's a bit of a worrisome section. Okay, so it licks the bomb, and then I can throw the Pikmin on its face. So it actually gets stunned when it eats a bomb, which, yeah, even I didn't know that when I came back to this game.
And not only does it get stunned when it eats a bomb, but it actually gets stunned for longer if that bomb is has its timer going down. If it just eats a Pikmin that's holding a bomb, it gets stunned for less long. So you got to make sure that you whistle the Pikmin before it licks it.
Yeah, like this. I've actually I messed up with that. So I had a Pikmin throw the bomb into its mouth versus oh dear. Versus its timer being active. So now Ball Blacks is jumping around. A bit of a problem, but yeah.
All right.
It's fine. It's just time loss. I just have to wait for him to stop.
I saw the snitch bug earlier, the second snitch bug that I haven't killed yet, and it was possibly in a catastrophic place. But random snitch bugs are random. It actually moved into the perfect place, so I don't think I'll even have to deal with it, hopefully. So that's nice. Because essentially, it's really hard to kill snitch bugs if you only have yellows with you. And that's really the one point in the run where you only have yellows with you. So thankfully, it did not bother me, and I can just worry about it later. If I have to beat it, I'll have 70 blues, so it won't be an issue.
Okay. And I've just killed the Ball Blacks, collecting the final part, which weighs 95 as a maximum carry, sorry. Just making sure that's loaded up, and then that's kind of the final stuff for me. I'm wrapping up. There you go. I'm going to show you an Easter egg.
Are you going to cutscene skip the last...
No, I'm going to get the fireworks, hopefully.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Fireworks during the cutscene. So if you carry Olimar up into the onion, a firework happens, but yeah, that's time for me.
All right.
GG.
Yeah, so that actually went really well. In our estimate, we allow for massive disasters, which are really, unfortunately, way too common. But yeah, that went really well for me, so I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, I had some unfortunate disasters in Force Enable and Force of Hope, but actually this distance spring is looking pretty good. So hopefully I should be okay on time.
Can I ask if, so when both of you were getting into Pikmin and speedrunning this game, were you ever witness to any big changes, kind of something that really just completely wowed everybody, like, oh my god, this saves, so much time all of a sudden, like some crazy optimization?
So
Yeah, definitely.
interestingly, I mean, personally, there really haven't been that many changes in Pikmin in the last, 10 years or so. There have been a couple route optimizations, but there haven't been any huge time saves. Really, the biggest one in the last several years has been what I'm doing right now. I'm going to be essentially pushing apart with Pikmin to skip bridge, so I don't have to build a bridge. I don't know.
Well, yeah, as a newer player, maybe that's the impression. But for me, when I started in 2016, the route had only just begun being a 6-day thing. So before that, people would go for completing the area or completing the game in 9 days, not even 6 days, not even 8. And the way that it was optimized was that eventually we found a way to, even not in an RTA run, just in a challenge run, to beat distance spring in 1 day, and that was in, I think that was in 2011. The first distance spring in 1 day. And then people figured out that actually they're bad at the game and they can improve and they can actually beat it RTA. And that's when the 8-day run came out. But even then, it wasn't optimized as much as people thought it was. You can beat the game in 6 days. So eventually someone figured out the route for Forest Naval and then the route for Forest of Hope. And then shouts to IID01, who's the Japanese runner who basically he set the route that I use and mostly Strongman Lin uses in stone by going for 6-day RTA, which is just, before he did it, it was unheard of. But now I think it's a fairly common thing to be able to go for a 6-day run. But yeah, so to answer your question, yes, absolutely.
Nice. Would you say that there are a lot of resources out there for anyone that might be wanting to get into this kind of a speedrun?
Absolutely. So we've got our Discord server and our speedrun leaderboard. So even if you don't want to join the Discord server, you can check out the leaderboard for all the resources we have. We have practice hacks, which that is a massive improvement as well from the past. We have tutorials, videos on everything, route analysis. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because some players get really intimidated, and then, so I like to ask if there are resources, because I think some people have expressed interest while watching today.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's definitely, well, I think a lot of people say that about their game, but there's definitely a very unique skill curve to learning this game as a speedrun, where if you want to go for the fastest routes, it really is a massive struggle. Even for us top runners now with lots of practice, we can't get a consistent 6-day. So that's massively intimidating, I'm sure, for new runners. But there's no reason you should have to go for the fastest strats. You can go for an 8-day run and still get a very impressive time. I mean, I would consider some of the 8-day runs on the leaderboard some of the most optimized for the route that they were using out of all the runs on the leaderboard. So yeah, you can just be comfortable with what you're doing. And there's plenty of resources out there for your needs if you're learning this game.
Nice. When did you actually switch to 6-day?
Oh, well, I was always a 6-day runner.
Yeah.
Which
isn't
okay. The special case.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
No, a special case, sure. Yeah, so most people start out just speedrunning the game with a 2-day route in every area. So an 8-day route overall, we call it.
Yeah, except for distance springs. You try to get 1 day. Usually, on your first several runs, you'll essentially do the 1-day route and just get somewhat close, and then finish it up on the 2nd day. So yeah. So we still did the 6-day route, even though I finished in 7 days, just because it's still the same route. It's just
right. It's just things like RNG
right.
or okay.
Yeah. So I was definitely a different case because I learned the 6-day route immediately as speedruns, because I was actually more of a challenge runner for this game before speedruns. I still considered speedruns just a challenge run, another extra way of playing the game. I just really love playing this game from start to finish, Yeah. It's just such a classic. Yeah.
All right, so I'm coming to the final trial now. I'm limping home, but at least I got the 1 day distance spring, so I'll take that.
You got it.
Yeah.
Nice one.
I also, one thing I didn't bring up because you guys were talking, but I did get wrecked a little bit by that snitch bug there. I had tried to throw one Pikmin to the side to use it for the bull bear distraction, like Moke did as well. But the snitch bug saw that Pikmin and was like, no, you're not using that. I'm taking that. So I unfortunately had to distract it on my own, which kind of messed up the cutscene skips. But still,
that's crazy.
Yeah, Distant Spring is definitely the easiest one to get everything in one day, so I am probably still okay here. Or I was still okay, I should say.
You're adapting.
Yeah, and me and Lynn used the same route for the final area. But actually, it's really challenging as well. But, I mean, it's another thing I can say, hey, it looks easy, but it's challenging. But there's actually several slower versions of this final day that you can do to make it easier for yourself. But killing the final boss with only blue Pikmin, because they do less damage than reds, it's actually, I mean, yeah, it's a real problem, and you can even lose runs to it. Even, you know, I've definitely lost PBs to just this final level. But yeah, most of the people who would do an 8-day route, they would take out reds. They would put some blues back in the onion, take out reds, just to make sure that they can kill the final boss, you know, consistently. But I think it's pretty awesome that both me and him go for the fastest, the most optimal version.
Yeah.
Yeah, which even other runners don't. I know Urban Deer, another runner, a good friend of mine, when he was going for his 6-day runs, he definitely went for much easier and more consistent strats. But yeah, it's also going to go for the faster ones here.
Yeah, so I actually do a variation to make this one a little easier. If you grab extra bombs and you have a little extra time to kill bullbacks. Let me just mash real quick.
You got it. Okay, and you're going to see him throw a bomb over the wall. Or maybe you've done that already. Sorry, yeah, it's a massive delay. Yeah, you threw that bomb over the wall, though. And that's actually kind of a precise throw.
Well, that was not good. Essentially, I whistled the bomb maybe a couple frames too early there. So it blew up right before bullbacks licked it. So I'm going to go.
Oh, you threw all of them as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, yeah, I mean, he ate all my Pikmin, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we will get some reds. You'll be all right, though.
Yep.
Yeah, there's plenty of extra bombs. It's unfortunate that you lose Pikmin, but really, all it is time loss. That's a shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said then, it's the hardest one for a reason.
Yeah, this game is definitely very unforgiving. In Pikmin 2 and 3, any one enemy can really only kill maybe, I don't know, 10 Pikmin at a time or something. But the final boss here can just wipe your party like he did there.
Yeah, he has 3 different types of attacks, and all of them have no limit to the number of Pikmin it can kill. Kind of crazy. I think the reason the final ship part is optional is because even Nintendo, when they made this game, they thought, no, this final boss is way too challenging. Because it really is. If you're not familiar with the controls, just fighting the final boss. If you don't know about the bombs as well, yeah, you're going to really struggle.
Yeah. All right, there we go, though.
Nice.
Were you able to show up for fireworks? Do you have enough time?
Not fully.
All right,
we did see a little bit, so yeah, nice one.
Doesn't really waste any time, so I'll just do that real quick.
Also, by the way, there are other categories in this game. So the 100% and the any percent are basically the same thing, but to have fun with it, we have other categories as well. So, I mean, if people are interested in speedrunning, I would completely recommend going for a five-part speedrun, which is just collecting a few parts in Forest of Hope, and it's like an old, it's kind of a relic of tradition of when we used to do SRL races. But yeah, it's actually a fun little speedrun to whet your appetite and get you into this this world.
Yeah, and there's time for me, so finally we're over. There we go.
GG.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Got the fireworks too.
Yeah. All right.
Well, very well done, both of you. Thank you so much for showing off Pikmin. I mean, I can barely manage myself, let alone 100 Pikmin. So the optimization that you have for this game is really, really impressive. And we can tell that you did put a lot of time into making it look seamless. So thank you again so much for showing it off. Do you have any shout outs or any final words that you'd like to give to us?
Lynn, you go first.
Yeah, join the Pikmin Discord if you're interested in this game. It's on speedrun.com and under any of the Pikmin games. I think the Discord is linked in the guides, so definitely join if you're interested.
Yeah, definitely, and shout outs as well to the hacking community for the practice hacks that came out. Yeah, they've been so helpful for new runners. Just want to thank them as well.
Awesome. Thank you again, both of you, so much for being here. Those of you watching, if you enjoyed the race, please make sure you follow our runners at twitch.tv/strongmanlin and twitch.tv/mokg. But before we break, a reminder to all of you that SGDQ 2021 Online is July 4th through the 11th. Game submissions are open starting tomorrow, March 31st until April 11th, so please be sure and prep your submissions. If you'd like to be a part of SGDQ 2021 from the comfort of your own home, you can go to gamesdonequick.com for more information on that. A quick thank you to our supporters. Your subs, gift subs, Amazon Prime subs, and bits cheered here on the GDQ Twitch channel do help support our weekly Hotfix content. So thank you so much for supporting our live shows. Information on this show, Time Capsule, as well as all of our Hotfix shows is available at gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. So from there, you can find out more info about submitting your runs to any of our weekly shows. Shenmue II is up next, so don't go away. Alright everybody, welcome back to Time Capsule here on the Games Done Quick Hotfix, the show where we travel back in time to your favorite years in gaming and speedrun our way through popular or influential games released in a particular year. I'm your host, Smooth Operative. Thank you for sticking around. Joining me right now is speedrunner Tapioca for Shenmue II. Hi Tapioca, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. How are you doing? Tell us about the plan.
I'm doing great. So the plan is to run Shenmue II. This game was released, of course, in 2001 on Dreamcast. Only in Europe and Japan, though. Us pleb Americans didn't get this until like a year later when they ported it to Xbox. And I'm playing the PC version today because it is way faster because of the load times.
Oh, definitely.
So I guess I'll have plenty of time to explain everything as I get going. This is a New Game Plus run, by the way. There's a specific reason for that, and it's very stupid. But I'll get right into it. I can start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Alrighty, so starting right off, of course, unskippable cutscene.
Yeah,
I promise there's not too many of these, at least not for like the first half of the run. But they do slap us right in the face with one at the start. These guys are playing a song, Wishing Luck to Travelers. And I consider myself to be a traveler, so let's give them some money and hope that they bless the run with good RNG. Come on, kid. There we go. You do actually want to give him the money because it puts you in a slightly better position coming out of this cutscene. Right away, I'm going to start buying some lighters from this lady over here. Hopefully she'll talk to me. Please. Thank you. The reason why we're buying lighters here is because in a minute or two, we're going to get our backpack stolen. And when our backpack gets stolen, we lose all of our money, but not all of our items. So this is a way to sort of keep money from the early game. We buy the lighters, and then we're going to sell them back later.
Oh, smart.
For some reason, you don't lose all your items.
Good-looking boys know what real quality is.
So we just need these 2 lighters. There's actually a route where you don't get any lighters and you bet all your money on a 1 in 10, and that's pretty fun. No one does that for obvious reasons. We just buy the lighters. Gonna attempt to skip a cutscene here. Didn't quite get it. That's skippable anyway, but you don't even have to see that little fade out if you do the inputs right. It's a bit tight. Anyway, we're buying a map here. This map is basically going to break the entire game by doing the map glitch. If you open the map on the first frame of opening the menu, then you can run with the map open, and that's going to let us walk through triggers for cutscenes, load triggers. Later, it's going to let us walk through walls. So here we go. Perfect first try. So you can see we're moving on a map. This is not supposed to be possible. And when I unpause, there we go. We just walked through a 20-second unskippable cutscene. That doesn't look very impressive, but trust me, things get very weird. Anyway, we're just cruising along. At the end of the first Shenmue game, we were told we had to come to Hong Kong to go find someone, and that person knows someone, and that person knows someone, and that person knows where to find the guy who killed our father at the start of the first game. So that's sort of the basic plot here. We're sort of bouncing from person to person, looking for someone, I guess. But there we go. Bag just got stolen. Typically, what happens at this point in the game, if you play casually, is you'd have to go get your bag back from those people. Then they're like, oh, we spent all your money, but you can keep your items, I guess. But we don't need to get our bag back. There's like an invisible wall that's supposed to stop us from leaving this area without it. But, you know, map glitch, so who cares? Just cruising through these lovely, very boxy city streets.
I think it looks really good, actually, for 2001.
Yeah. There we go, second try. Yeah, I actually love the style of this game. People make fun of me all the time for it, but, like, something Sega had going on the Dreamcast back in 2001 is just, like, low poly, but, like, pretty good textures, and it's just, like, this weird combo. I don't know, it looks very nice to me, especially in Shenmue games, because it's so detailed, you know? There's just so much stuff that they just texture onto the walls. But hey, we skipped getting our bag back, so now we're just never gonna get our bag back, and that's fine. We still have all of our items. Ryo is conveniently keeping them all just stuffed into his pockets. Ryo is wearing like the world's biggest pair of cargo pants. Anyway, we're hitting up a hotel that we were told to go to. We're only going to spend one night in the hotel because we're going to play the game fast enough that we don't have to spend any more. But we do have to spend one night here. Cruise up here. It's actually not a mistake when I open the journal like that. The journal button and the open door button is the same thing. It's both square. And the journal, if the journal has something that it really wants to tell you, will take precedence over opening doors. So by really quickly opening and closing the journal, we're able to interact with doors quicker. Anyway, in the grand tradition of the Shenmue II early game, we're now locked in this area until we watch a cutscene. I don't want to watch the cutscene, so we're going to do the spooky ghost glitch. I'm going to stand about here, and I want to look at that sign and talk to that guy at the same time. And I think I did that right. Perfect. So now I'm invisible. This has to do with Ryo becomes invisible when he goes in first-person mode. And so we go in first-person mode by looking at the sign, but we cancel it by talking to someone at the same time, and that just lets us do this. So now we can walk through triggers. This is the only point in the whole game when we actually use this trick. If you watch runs of this done on the original Xbox, this trick was a lot more prevalent back in the old route, but now that we're on PC, this trick was sort of made a little bit harder, so we don't do it too much. But we do it right here, just because we don't have a map to do the glitch with instead. So there we go. I just walked through an unskippable cutscene. Managed to get out of that area.
It's funny because it's very cinematic in its own way while skipping the cinematic.
Yeah, we sort of get to cruise through the streets and, you know, just getting a nice overview of the area. Never mind the fact that we're a spooky ghost.
This is the Yanten Apartments.
Li Xiaotao lives here. Spoiler alert, Li Xiaotao does not live here. Nothing is simple. We're going to where she used to live, though, and there's gonna be a dude here. Any second now. Okay, there's the dude. There he is.
What do you want?
This conversation makes no sense if you actually pay attention to it, but I'm just gonna skip through it. He does know where Li Xiaotao is, but he wants us to go buy him some food. If you just quit out, he tells you anyway. It's a bit weird like that. If you try to quit out by pressing the back button, he won't tell you, but if you quit out by specifically selecting quit, then he will. It's a little strange that way. But anyway, he just made the mistake of telling us where Li Xiaotao lived, so now we're heading over there. Thanks, dude.
Oh, he's not gonna get his food now.
He's not gonna get his food, which is good, because we don't have a single dollar on us.
True,
I have $0 for buying him food at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and answer a question in the chat that I see, just because this is sort of a long walking section through this next area. You absolutely can do Yakuza in a speedrun, and I happen to run basically every game in that series. That's sort of what got me into running Shenmue. I was running Yakuza for a while, and then I was like, you know, those Shenmue games are kind of similar to Yakuza, right? No. You might think so, but oh man.
The speedruns are
The
really
pace of
different.
these are so different, yeah. In this game, I think we do like 5 fights. I don't know, the fights are like very secondary to all the other stuff going on in this game. Anyway,
Right.
hug the wall there to skip a cutscene. Here is Manmo Temple. We're going to be spending a lot of time in this temple. Not as much time as we're supposed to, but still a lot of time nonetheless. Because we're here to meet Master Mo, who is Li Xiaotao, who is Xu Ying. She has like 3 different names. But we're not allowed to meet her right now, because we need to first learn the 4 Wudu, which are the 4 things that any martial arts master needs to know. And the first of the 4 Wudu is that you need to have a nice haircut. So that's what we're going to go do. We're going to go get a nice haircut. I wish I were joking. Cutscene there. I don't even remember what that one is. I think the old lady's shouting at me for something. We gotta go find a nice barber shop, though.
Can I ask those of you watching, when was the last time you got a haircut? Because I hadn't gotten my haircut for an entire year up until last week.
Gosh, I think you can tell from the webcam. I haven't gotten my haircut in about a year at this point.
Yeah.
This used to be short.
Aw.
Excuse me. Welcome.
Here's the dude who knows where the barber shop is. Oh no, not her. Not that old lady. This guy.
Do you know of a mark?
She steals my targeting sometimes.
He's pretty Then you
You have to look at that guy in first person, and the first person controls in this game are a little bit questionable.
Zanyu Barber's shop.
This must be
This
Zanyu's
must be
shop.
Zanyu's shop.
God, that is the fastest little barbershop spinner I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's going in.
It's like, this is a
Voodoo
speed
are
run.
important to those who study the martial arts. Those without the voodoo often strayed from the
Anyway,
path
unskippable
and were
cutscene
hated
number
by
2.
others.
This guy is gonna explain to us that those without the voodoo were sometimes
Those
killed at the
people were
barber.
often killed
But that's fine, I'm sure
when they
that's
were
not
on
ominous
guard.
or anything.
For example, while they were having tea. Or sitting at the barber's. Listen.
What
do
could he
not
mean by
move,
this?
No matter what happens.
So hey, there's a QTE. Something Shenmue's famous for. This game invented QTEs, believe it or not. QTEs did not exist until this game forced them upon us. And we'll be doing a lot, but that one you fail. Otherwise, he kicks you out of his barber shop.
But I did not feel any minutes.
I wonder if he just does that to everyone, or if it's just me,
Stay calm
Yeah, it's like savage in
to
this
make
barbershop.
the right
just to see what happens, you know?
That is one of the voodoo. Done.
The first of the 4 Wudu is Dawn. Be brave when getting a haircut.
Stay calm in order to judge correctly.
If you train hard, you'll be a master of martial arts.
Anyway, there we go. That's the first one. The second Wudu is you gotta be really good at punching trees. So we're gonna go learn from a master on how to punch a tree really well. Before I do that though, I need to go solve that whole $0 thing. Because in a little bit, we're gonna need $500. And 500 is kind of a lot more than 0, so I'm gonna have to do something about that. I'm not gonna get all $500 right now. I just need a little bit so that I can buy a map later. I'm gonna do that by selling some pawn shop items. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about this. The PC version that I'm playing is a port of the Xbox version of this game, right? And back on Dreamcast, the original Shenmue II, you could import your save from Shenmue 1, and it would let you carry over all the items you had from the first game. So like if you had a bunch of capsule toys or something, you could carry all those over. Obviously you can't do that on the Xbox because there is no Xbox version of Shenmue 1. So to compensate, they just give you all of them for free. And because this is a port of the Xbox version, they just give us all the capsule toys for free. So we're gonna take advantage of that by selling all the capsule toys to the pawn shop at various times throughout the run to make our money. We're gonna get about $300 just from selling random little plastic trinkets to this store.
Very convenient.
It's very nice of them to have kept that in the PC version. I think on Dreamcast you have to like gamble for the money even more, or you have to like go to work or something. It's really lame. Xbox route just skips all of that. We can just sell the capsule toys.
Yeah, nice.
I'm going the wrong way. What am I doing? That is the slower old way to get to the tree that we're going to be punching a whole bunch. I was heading to that park, and there was a master of martial arts who spent his whole life dedicated to the art of punching trees. His name is Minecraft Steve. No, his name is that guy. I don't even know. I assume he has a name, but I've never bothered to learn it. He's old man. This is the first of many scripted losses. This entire game is just dedicated to embarrassing Ryo by making him lose at fights to old people. But there we go. This is the punching tree move. The game wants to make sure we were really good at this, so it's going to have us punch the tree 20 times in a row now. And there's actually quite a bit of tech to this that I just screwed up. So if you look at the bar in the bottom left corner, wow, I'm really failing this, jeez. We are trying to fill up the bar to that yellow orb. The top 4 orbs on that meter are yellow, right? And if we fill it up to a yellow orb, then we get 2 points instead of 1 added to that red bar in the center. The red bar in the center, when that fills up, this sequence ends. The trick is, it's actually RNG how high the bar will fill before going back down. So the first yellow orb will always light up, but after that, it's random whether or not the next yellow orb will light up or if it'll start going backwards down the meter. So to do this consistently, you want to stop it on the first yellow orb every time, and the timing on this is very, very awkward. No matter how much you practice it, you will still fail several times, I feel. I have practiced this tree so many times, and I think that's like the 3rd one that I failed. This is actually going kind of poorly. It's fine though. The way it works is the bar in the center is 40 points to fill. So as long as, or if you do fail, like if you only fill to the blue 1 time, then at that point you can fail it a 2nd time without losing any time. It's like every other failure makes you lose a 2nd or 2 from having to take an extra punch. We're just gonna knock all the leaves out of this tree though. There's gonna be no leaves left in this tree by the time we're done with it.
Yeah, I feel like even this is like kind of a cinematic experience, tree punching.
Oh yeah, the whole game is just like, it's very heavily inspired by like martial arts movies from back in the day. Like this is Hong Kong in the 80s, you know, they're like, they're going all in with that kind of thing. And so this is sort of like the original cinematic game as well. That's like what the vision was back in the day. This is very ahead of its time, sort of.
Looking good.
Nowadays it's so dated, but at the time it was like, there's nothing like this. Probably, hopefully just 1 more punch. No matter what, the last punch has to be a yellow orb. Ugh, oh my god. I'm bad. Okay, there we go. Jeez, get me out of this park. So there we go. We are now a master at punching trees, which is the 2nd voodoo. At this point, the game advances time to night. It's now 7 p.m. And here's the trick.
Oh my god.
So we want to go to bed, said it could be tomorrow, so we can continue with the story, right? But we can't do that until 8 p.m. So for the next hour, we're going to try to pack as much stuff in as possible. And if we do the route perfectly, we should be able to get back to our bed just at 8 p.m. so we don't waste any time. I am probably going to screw that up and waste like 1 in-game minute or something. It's very tight. Like I might have actually already screwed it up because I stepped up onto the first step here and Ryo has to walk down the step before he can start running again. It's actually that tight. But that's the martial arts master, a different one. He's going to tell us the 3rd voodoo, which is that any martial arts master has to be able to chop a rock in half. That's just like a given. We got to be able to chop a rock in half. So I'm going to go find someone who can teach me how to do that. Unfortunately, they live all the way across the city. And so we got to walk all the way there.
Does Ryo ever get a bike or anything?
Nope.
Oh, wow, okay.
We're just running everywhere. You should see later in this run, Ryo's gonna run up 40 flights of stairs. So this guy, he's determined.
This is Ryo's like fitness goals.
For sure. This is my favorite area of the game, by the way. Tapioca Trivia. It's very cool. It's got the cars and everything.
How long have you been speedrunning this game, Tapioca?
About a bit over a year now, I
Oh,
think.
okay, cool.
On and off. Here's the dude. He's a street performer, and we're gonna perform by chopping the rock in half. This is fortunately way, way, way easier than punching the tree. So there we go. We just chopped the rock in half. And now we gotta go back to the martial arts master. I'm sort of like laughing about how much walking there is in this run. And in my chat, we always joke about how I only ever speedrun walking simulators because I play games like this in Yakuza. But the movement and like the angles you take actually do matter a surprising amount. Like whenever someone's first getting into running Shenmue II, you lose so much time to just the walking in between doing things. It's surprising. You lose minutes. It's a real like underrated skill, being able to walk forward in this game. I don't know, that sounds so dumb, but it's a thing, I promise.
No, I completely understand that. It's like those little optimizations that make the time better.
For sure. It's especially a thing in this game, because Ryo in this game, I don't know if anyone here's played Shenmue 2 or not, but for those who haven't played a Shenmue game, Ryo literally controls like a car. Right now I'm holding RT to accelerate and tapping left and right to make him turn. Like,
Oh my
Ryo is
God.
literally a vehicle. And he also has all sorts of weird autopilot behavior he does if you get him too close to a wall, because he doesn't want to let you bump him into walls. So there's actually kind of a lot that goes into just like compensating for Ryo's weirdness and getting him to run in a straight line as you like get past NPCs and stuff. He's sort of a self-piloting car.
That's pretty excellent.
I mean, this game is a Dreamcast game, you know. They only had one analog stick to work with, so I guess they figured, you know, this is the way to go, so you don't have to also control the camera. Something like that. I don't know. I'm making excuses for them.
They were like, let's just make Ryo Crazy Taxi.
Pretty much. Yeah, there is one Dreamcast game, and it's Crazy Taxi. This game is just a reskin of it.
Reskin of Crazy Taxi.
Yes. Can you have you? Yes. Do you have
So this
any-
dude is gonna run down the list of every martial artist in the whole city.
Guishan?
And we're gonna go learn the fourth Voodoo from Guishang. And the fourth Voodoo is actually gonna be how to fight, finally. So we are going to punch some people in this game. That's ostensibly about punching people. But before we do that, we first must buy another map. This is why we went to the pawn shop earlier and sold that one set of toys, because we want to have $10 here to buy this map.
Wise man's quarter. It'll come in handy.
It'll really come in handy, this map. We're gonna use this so many times that this is like the most important map in the run, probably, of the 3 that we buy. But there we go. Now we can go fight some people. Combat in this game is extremely awkward and terrible. Hopefully I don't screw this up, but the fast way to do combat in this game is to just spam the atomic elbow, the famous Hazuki-style elbow move, as it's called. And hopefully they won't interrupt me while I do the elbow. Oh boy, that's not a good start. Just gonna give him the bows. Oh my god, please, let me elbow you, thank you. What makes this so awkward is that the camera is constantly flipping around and we have no control over it. But also, in addition to that, all these inputs are like fighting game inputs. So to do the elbow, you want to do forward, forward, square. And doing that when the definition of forward is changing like every quarter second is really not consistent. But that worked, that was a fine fight. If I get unlucky, I'll actually die in some later fights. I don't, you know, hopefully that doesn't happen, but it totally happened in practice the other day. Let's see, what's our time here? 53. We could actually be good for getting back to Come Over Guest House in time. I think that this could work. 7:53. I think you need 52, so we might be like 1 minute off. Yeah, that kid, you can tell I'm on good pace because that kid with the green shirt isn't even on the stairs yet. Every NPC in this game has their schedule they like to be on, so you can sort of tell where they are or how you're doing based on where they are. 7:58, I think we're solid. It takes like 2 minutes to
Kids
walk
are
up
out
the
too late.
stairs. That's gonna be right at 8 p.m. All right, solid. And maybe that was like 8:01. I don't know. Basically perfect. I'm gonna say that was perfect. And we're just gonna go with it. Anyway, at this point in the game, The daily rent for this room is $38, and I don't have $38. So to avoid getting abducted and sent to go work in the docks, I'm just gonna do this. We're gonna map glitch on the stairs. I'm gonna turn until the compass is facing east. Oh, that didn't work, really? I think I waited too long before turning is my issue. This one's supposed to be pretty easy. That was just bad timing. This is like the easiest trick in the game, so of course this is the one I'm gonna screw up a million times. Oh my god. There we go. Hopefully I don't fail the setup now that I've got it. Okay, geez, there we go. So that clips us outside. Then we interact with the door from the other side, and we just skipped having to go work down at the docks for like 5 minutes. Bit of a mess, but you know, there we go. The reason why we were able to clip out of bounds there instead of just being able to walk through triggers is because we did the map glitch when we were walking upstairs. If you do it on stairs, that's what lets you walk through walls with it. So now we can just get on with our life and just never pay rent to that guy. And since we've learned the 4 Voodoo, we're heading back to Manmo Temple so that we can go meet Xu Ying so that she can tell us the stuff, whatever the stuff is. You gotta tell us where the guy is, who will then tell us where the other guy is. It's very important information. This is like the 3rd time we're just running through this entire area. Fortunately, once we get a little bit later into the Hong Kong stretch of the game, they stop making you just run through this area a million times, and they start giving you fast travel. So that's cool, especially right at the end of Hong Kong. They would make you walk all the way across the entire city for like 10 minutes, but instead they're just like here, just teleport. Makes life much easier. That's sort of one of the things I like about Shenmue II over the first game. If this were Shenmue 1, they would just waste all your time making you walk across the city. Anyway. All right, good. I usually have problems with this one, so of course I got it first try. There's an unskippable cutscene when you try to enter the temple here where they shout at you and tell you not to enter the temple, and I'm just gonna enter anyway.
Excuse me.
This one we have to watch though. It's very important that we learn that there's a lot of soot on the walls in this building.
Am I the only one cleaning away the soot?
This guy is like my kindred spirit, by the way. I feel this guy every day.
Excuse me.
The quality of life in a Shenmue game? I know, right? The first game has like 0 quality of life. In this game, they just fixed all of it. Shenmue 2 is the best.
If you're here to pray, come back later.
Please, I need to ask something.
Well, then you should give service first.
Oh no. Has something gone wrong?
Yes. How about cleaning away the soot here?
Can't hear me. Oh boy.
This is Yi.
This is
Act without
Yi.
hesitation to do the right thing.
Can hear streamer. Okay, good. That's good. Service. I'm glad someone understands. I saw one service. That's important. I'm glad someone understands the lore. So what I'm doing here is actually speed tech. If you punch Xu Ying, then there's a bunch of cutscenes where she blocks your punches. But if you don't press anything, then the game forces you to start punching her automatically because the game doesn't like that you're not playing by its rules. So by spamming grabs, we can prevent the cutscenes, but also prevent the autopilot and get the fight to end like much faster. Xu Ying's now gonna bring us back to her apartment. Xu Ying's our best friend now. I don't know why, but she is. I already know where Xu Ying's apartment is, so while she walks to her apartment, I'm going to go ahead and sell a bunch of crap to the pawn shop so that I can get $300. And you'll notice $300 is still less than the $500 required, so we're going to have to do a little bit extra later just to make up that last $200. But we're going to be going to 2 different pawn shops today. There's a bunch of pawn shops in this game, and they all give you different rates. We want this place for some sets and another place for others.
Yes.
Take this. It's our flyer. You can check my buying rates on it. Are you going to sell something?
All right, and we're selling 5 sets to this guy. This guy's pretty good. As far as the pawn shop lore guy goes, though, I prefer the other pawn shop guy. I think he has a funnier accent. This guy's pretty good, but the other guy is just like straight out of Texas, and I love him for it. I don't know where they found the voice actors in this game. Apparently the lore is that they picked the voice actors in this game just based on whether or not they looked like characters in the game. So the voice acting is a little bit suspect.
Yes.
Really? Is there any...
Yeah, she likes me because I have $300. That's the truth. She's jealous. I actually only had like 20 bucks at the time, so...
I'd better.
Nothing.
Lucky pawn shop.
They're really...
I don't think that would have been it. That was our first pawn shop. We're gonna sell 1 more set back to the Texas guy.
Come on, do you need...
I won't pay a lot for that.
Yes.
I see. And now we're gonna sell those lighters as well, that we bought way back at the start of the game. There's the lighters.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's perfect, $316. We're gonna make another $200 by betting all of our money on a 50-50 in a little bit. So that'll be exciting and hopefully not horrible. And that'll get us to $516, which is the perfect amount for paying the bribe and also having 10 bucks left over to buy 1 more map. So everything just sort of works out perfectly, where if we sell everything we own, it's the correct amount. We need to wait for Xu Ying to walk to her apartment. Once she gets closer to the apartment, I'm actually going to save here because the game can crash in the next cutscene. We're playing the 1.0 version of this game, although I think it crashes on all versions. If this song sounds completely wrong to you, that's because 1.0 had a horrible audio glitch that made all the instruments out of tune. It's been happening all game, but with some songs it's more obvious than others. I feel like this one is pretty plainly wrong. Hopefully no crash. Alright, we're good. I think the crash is because on Dreamcast, that's the end of Disc 1.
Please get started.
Ugh,
Yes.
Excuse me.
Carry
This
each
is
pile and
a
place
4-disc
it on
game
stand
on
up.
Dreamcast, which is really impressive.
You just carry them out.
It's really impressive that they made, because Shenmue 1 and 2 were made at the same time, right? And Shenmue 1 is 3 discs and this is 4, so they just straight up made like 7 discs of game at the same time. I don't know what was going on at Sega in the late 90s.
Let's get
But
to
here's the infamous book carrying minigame. These are rare books, so don't drop them. It's very important that no matter what, we don't drop the books. Oh geez, I dropped the books. Yeah, I'm not much of an actor. So we drop these books because it advances the timer a little bit quickly. Or a little bit more quickly than if we just brought them all out without dropping them. I'm not going to bring any more books out, though. I think that that was enough. It's time to escape from the backyard. All right, good first try. So there is an absolutely massive trigger covering the entire map that's stopping me from leaving this backyard. But if you do this just right, you can escape anyway. On the original Xbox route of this game, you actually bring all the books out and you just drop all of the books to try to make it advance the timer to noon faster. Let's see, is that good? I think we're good. I think I just like threaded the needle. This is real wonky. Wow, I can't believe that worked. That was totally off cue. I don't know what I was doing there, but that worked. So we just escaped from backyard, and we once again managed to get out of having to do any manual labor. There's just like a common theme in this game. Anytime the game wants us to work, we can just skip it somehow. We're gonna have to skip that one again later as well.
Welcome.
But we want to find info about a dude named Yandazu,
It's a book.
and Yandazu wrote a book. I wonder where we might be able to find a book. So it's time to immediately go back to the library. Here's the thing, though. The reason why we want to carry those books out as part of the plot is because once you carry all the books out, they unlock the library, and then you can get into the library and you can access this book, right? This important book that advances the plot. The library is still locked, so I'm going to have to clip into the library. This is, in my opinion, the hardest one in the game. Shoot. No, not even close. I've been saying that about a lot of tricks, but this one is really hard, because if you recall what I said about this earlier... Nope, that was off timing. If you recall what I said about this earlier, in order to clip through a wall with the map glitch, you have to be on stairs. There we go. And there's only one step there. And to make matters worse, because there's a door at the top of the steps, Ryo doesn't want to step on the step. That autopilot behavior I mentioned earlier kicks in, it doesn't let him go up the steps. So the timing on that is incredibly tight. Anyway, I'm gonna switch to mouse controls here, I hope. Okay, there we go. Mouse is being a little flaky. We need to catch a whole bunch of leaves now, in order to prove that we're worthy of having the book, I guess. And this is real wonky and horrible if you do it with the right analog stick. Ugh, how did I screw that up? Come on, focus in, thank you. So what most runners will do here is swap to mouse controls.
2 more times.
My mouse actually died yesterday. This is a brand new mouse that I'm using. I've been using the same mouse for 20 years. And yesterday it finally died and I had to like go scramble to find a new one.
Good.
There we go, that's all. We now get the book, and inside the book is a mysterious paper. Yeah, my mouse was so old that on the bottom it specified that it was the USB 1 version instead of the PS2 version, and also that it was an optical mouse because those were new at the time. It had a hard life, that mouse. It can rest easy now. Anyway, we gotta go find out what the mysterious paper means. And who better to decode a mysterious paper than a random pawn shop guy who just happens to know for some reason? Bad menu. So this guy's shop isn't open yet, but we can make him spawn in anyway if we save and load the game.
Excuse me.
And then we pause and unpause there to make him talk toable a little bit faster.
Jar ones?
Yes,
Could you tell me?
I.
Guishan? You mean
Yes, if you.
I understand.
Right. Next time I've got an unskippable cutscene, I'll see if I can get Smooth Operative back in. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I have a very bit of a janky setup to get this to work. The typical audio setup for things like this involves a tiny little bit of delay, and I'm using an audio glitch. I'm using an audio cue to hit those map glitches, so I had to like really work around things
These are the Yan.
to make sure that I didn't have any
I
delay.
wonder if Guishan is here.
Start moving the left cup.
Start moving the left
Now
cup.
move it to the top.
Now move it to the top.
Good. Now
Take the second cup from the right. Now, move it to the bottom, and then you wait. The important part is waiting. The game's gonna glitch out now and display the clock icon in the bottom right corner for like the entire rest of the run. I don't know why it does that. Don't worry about it. At least until we have to reload later. But yeah, we just learned the secret teacup sign that shows other martial artists that we mean business. Ugh, oh, I didn't fix my menu. No wonder that didn't work. There we go, easy first try, sort of. We're gonna pretend that was first try, because it was kinda close. Just slowly walking down the side of the building. I think we're good now to turn. And perfect, that should be right next to the door, awesome. You can tell based on how the map scrolls whether or not you've like gotten stuck on something and need to make on-the-fly adjustments there. Most of the map glitches in this game we have some kind of cue for like, you know, knowing when to start them and when to stop them and when to turn and things like that, just based on how the map is scrolling around on the screen. Every once in a while, we just kind of have to wing it. But that one, there's a good cue for. But anyway, we learned the secret teacup sign, and we're gonna go do it in some places. And there's one specific place. There's all sorts of sets of 4 teacups set up all around the city for who knows what reason. But we are looking for the specific teacups in the Dojang Diner. Those are the ones that'll signal to the correct people. So like, as we pass by this place, I'm kind of swinging to the right so that I don't interact, but you can see those teacups there. Could do the sign there, but it wouldn't work. Could do the sign there, but it wouldn't work. We want in here. We want those teacups.
Looks like I can make the sign here.
For some reason, these indoors ones that have a lot less visibility are actually the correct ones and the ones that'll be seen properly. Make the Twitter verified check mark. This is how they did it back in the 80s, before Twitter existed. They had to make the check marks out of teacups. Shenmue 1 is about 5.5 hours. I gotta set the record straight. It's about a 5.5 hour game nowadays on PC. I think maybe 6.5. You know, maybe I'm not an expert either. It's somewhere around there though. It's less than 8, but it's still way longer than this. That's with skipping the entirety of Disc 1 as well. Shenmue 1 is kind of crazy. Anyway, the people we signal to actually want to beat me up. They are not good guys. So we're gonna give them the elbows. Hopefully we won't knock down the table in the center of the room. No reason to want to spare the table. I just want to spare the table. The table did nothing wrong. Ugh. This is pretty sloppy. Guy still has full health. I want to throw him at the end of the fight, but I don't think I will. Oh no, I got him. Throwing him at the end of the fight skips like a slow-mo finisher thing if you elbow him. Anyway, QTE sequence. These are all consistent, fortunately, so I'm just like mashing because I know what they all are. Failing any one of these QTEs just makes you instantly game over. Mostly, at least. You can fail certain QTEs. And one of the ones you can fail is this one right here. So, awkward pause. We're just gonna take the melon to the face. Because why not? Should be also circle, but let me just make sure. Yep. If you couldn't tell, I'm looking to the left because I've got notes over there. With all the QTEs in the game written down, or at least most of them. You gotta take the melon to the face. That's part of being a martial artist. It builds character. Yeah, running any of these games on Dreamcast is like, I don't know if any of you guys ever owned a Dreamcast, like now or back in the day or whatever. Dreamcast loads are brutal for like any game. It is real bad. There's Yuan, we dodge the pipe. Yuan is like one of the head bad guys. We won't be seeing her ever again. Normally there's this long like stalking section where you follow Yuan around, and we're just gonna skip all that. That's the last you ever see of her. There's a construction barrier here stopping me from going the way I want to go, but I'm just gonna head straight through the construction zone. QTEs go back to this game. I mentioned it earlier, but this is the game that is, well, Shenmue I is the game that invented QTEs, so to speak. I think it like coined the term. I'm sure there was some game before this, like, I don't know, like Die Hard Arcade. That has to be older than this because that's on the Saturn and that game has QTEs. But the QTE is often given to this. They say that Shenmue invented the QTE. Anyway, we're now walking across the entire city. After that, we learned, well, we didn't really learn anything, honestly, but we're just gonna go talk to someone else and see if they know where Yondazu is. And that someone else is the leader of the Heavens Gang back by the docks. So we need to get into the Heavens Gang, go find their leader, and then demand that he tell us where Yondazu is. And that guy is just a gang leader. I'm sure he'll be cooperative, and this will all go totally fine. Yeah, QTE is the game changer. This is the future of gaming, pressing buttons while things happen on the screen. So we're just heading back through the entire city now. Fortunately, the way this game tracks plot progression stuff, like all the triggers for, say, like heading back through this area, you know, we skip a trigger here at the beginning of the game for not getting our bag back. Fortunately, that doesn't interfere with us at all. That's gone now. We need to learn where the Heavens Gang is, and the most convenient way to learn that is by talking to this lady right here.
I'm looking for.
You can.
There's all sorts of NPCs in this game that'll tell you the correct place to go. Throughout the whole game, it's like that. That's one of the fun things about it, but we've routed out all the fastest NPCs. So throughout the game, it just looks like we're talking to random people who happen to know everything that we ask of them. It's a little bit ridiculous.
Ren is here.
Who are you? This is no place for strangers. Get lost before you get hurt.
That guy is guarding the door. So we need to get into the gang. So that guy will let us through the gate and into Beverly Hills Wharf. And this random souvenir shop guy happens to know how to join the gang.
We can't get. All right.
Well, he doesn't really know, but he basically knows. That's the guy. We need to talk to him or else the plot doesn't progress. Trust me, he's very important. I dip down into the park here in order to avoid a cutscene where I get my picture taken with Joy, who's a character who you don't meet in the run, but she's very cool. And we are going to gamble. So I've been talking about it. I've been alluding to it all run, basically. But we have $300. We need $500. There's a $200 difference there for those who are slow at math. And we are going to get that money by betting all of our cash on a 50-50. A dude is gonna roll 3 dice, and we want the number to be small. So that's kind of great. I'm sure this can't possibly go wrong. We're going to the casino docks. So I'm gonna save before we do this. This is pretty comfy in a marathon run when I can just like save like this and I don't have to worry about it, but if you're doing PB attempts of this game and you have to do all of those really hard tricks and then afterwards you have to bet all of your money on a 50-50, this is really infuriating to have in the run, as you can probably imagine. Hopefully this will be small. It's big. Man. We're looking for, I think, 11 or smaller. So that's a failure. If this were a PB attempt, I would Alt F4 the game, but this is not a PB attempt. So we're just gonna go ahead and try again. Hopefully this won't take me too many tries. In practice the other day, this was 5th try, which was absolutely brutal.
Hey boy, how about a game?
I'll play.
That's the spirit. How much are you betting? Now place your bet.
Please be small.
Throw the dice.
It's small. All right, really small. Look at that.
It's small. Here, you win.
So now I'm rich. There's my $500. Second try is not too terrible. I'll take that. You can't just leave with your winnings. Yes, I will. Anyway, you actually have to do that as part of the plot, by the way. Talking to that guy is how you find out how to get into the heavens, and he won't tell you unless you bet with him at least once. So it actually loses 0 time to just bet all of our money there. So no matter what, gambling is always gonna be in the run. There's no way to route it out. It's just too good. But that's it, though. That's it for the gambling. We can now go about our business and join the heavens.
Number 8 warehouse.
You can't just leave with your winnings.
I'll wait till 7.
I love that guy. Hey, boy, make some money with big or small. It's all right. Anyway. If this were Shenmue 1, we would just have to stand there for like an hour waiting for the time to advance. Here's a fight. This is the hardest fight in the run. This is not a good start. Taking this a little bit safe. Okay, good. I feel like I was making a very weird face during that fight. Oh well, I was trying to focus. I almost died there. There are a whole bunch of dudes in that fight, and they can just kind of corner you and then spam light punches, and you're just sort of stuck in the combo. This is a scripted loss, by the way. We're just gonna let this guy beat me up. Beat me up faster, please. Like, see, now that I need them to be aggressive, they're just not even touching me. Normally, I would be dead by this point. Come on. Okay, cool. That took a little bit longer than usual. Anyway, those guys beat me up, but they also let me into the gang. Very conveniently. So we're now in Beverly Hills Wharf. We got one more really large map glitch to do in this area, and that's gonna be it for Hong Kong. Is it? Well, no, we have a bunch more to do in Hong Kong, but this is gonna be the last map glitch of the area. Gotta hug a wall here so that I don't get into an optional fight. Yeah. My menu messed up because I saved earlier. I'm not used to doing that. Really? Ugh. There we go. Yeah, you just sort of get drafted into the gang. So what we're doing right now, there's all sorts of people on the wharf who want to fight me, and if you get too close to them, they'll fight you. But by doing this, we can just sort of walk through all of them without having to do any fights. It's very exciting. You get to watch the map. I think we're good to turn now. Rio is rubbing up against the gate. And he walked through the door. We should be good now. Cool. I let go a bit early there. That was kind of slow. Anyway, this is the cutscene where they take $500 from us. So if we didn't have $500, we wouldn't be able to continue the run at this point. Tempting to fix my Discord during this unskippable cutscene.
Are you the one who wants to make a donation?
On one condition. I want to know where Young Da Zoo is.
Everything looks normal.
Easy. No problem.
May the gods be with you.
This is how he repays us for giving him $500. He just stabs me in the face and we take it because it's faster to take it. That's fine though, we're best friends now. Well, we're not quite best friends, but we're gonna become best friends. We're almost best friends. We're like halfway there. He ran off. We need to go find him. The people who know where he is are the people in that corner back there. Not those people. They'll load in eventually. Those people back there. And before I fight them, let me just do this.
Who the hell?
Where did Ren?
I don't.
Is that true?
Don't mess with.
What?
I'm asking.
Punishment for failing this. This is like the easiest fight in the run, but the punishment for dying to it is like massive. Because these are the only people around here who have any idea where Ren went. And if they don't tell us, then that's a problem. For some reason, the camera like shoves itself into Rio's back here. I don't know exactly why they do that. But we have to do that whole fight with the camera just like awkwardly in our face. Which is honestly preferable to,
Where's Ren?
I can't tell.
honestly preferable to the camera just flipping around like it does during normal fights.
A while ago, saw him in Pigeon Park.
Are you sure?
Yes.
So that guy actually gives us the correct information. There's all sorts of groups around here that we could talk to and ask him where Ren is, and most of them would tell us to go someplace wrong, and then we'd go there, and there would be no one there. And it would just be a waste of time. So you want to make sure you get the good info. Oh, by the way, the reason why we're playing on patch 1.0, I mentioned this earlier, is because that cutscene is skippable. For some reason, every time they patched this game, they just made more and more cutscenes unskippable for some reason. So there's like 2 or 3 cutscenes throughout the game that you want to play on 1.0 so that you're able to skip, saves a couple minutes. It's incredibly stupid, but you know, it's a thing. We're just chasing Ren through the streets now. Nothing weird going on here at all. No one even looks at us.
Jump in. Clear. Damn. What a pain. Ren.
Alrighty, another QTE sequence. What do we got here? Alright, so we're failing the first one. This is just a faster animation to fail, and you don't die if it happens, so you fail it. I saw someone mention earlier, they asked what NG Plus meant. NG Plus means New Game Plus. It means that we started this game from a completed file. And the reason why we did that is because of this area. New Game Plus is virtually identical to New Game, except for one difference, and that one difference is that the cutscene at the end of this section is skippable. That's it. Items, money, it's all exactly the same. You don't actually carry anything over between files. The only thing that changes if you play in New Game Plus is that after I hit this next QTE, we'll be able to skip the cutscene. And that's incredibly stupid, but that's how it is. That's why virtually all Shenmue II runs are done New Game Plus, just because there's no reason not to. We'd be watching a cutscene here for like a minute and a half if we played New Game. That was pretty much the last thing we have to do in Hong Kong. Now we're just going to go say goodbye to Shuying, and we're going to make our way on to the second leg of the game. Back up the massive staircase. A teaser of stairs to come in this run. This game, people accuse it of being a walking simulator, but in reality, it's a staircase simulator. Shenmue II speedrunners know the truth. One more fight with Shuying, just to prove that we still can't beat her. There's no reason to really do anything this time, so I'm just gonna screw around.
Come and fight.
We could punch her. We could try to grab her. Nothing works. You can't hit Xu Ying. She's too good. I don't know if this works on PC. There's this trick you do here where you can like just dash in place really fast and it looks incredibly goofy, but I can't get it to work. Oh well. Anyway, she feels bad for us for being so bad at martial arts, so she's gonna teach us the atomic elbow in a moment.
Good. The weight shift looks fine.
She's way too good.
With your arms and legs next. Try it now.
Xu Ying's voice actress is like phoning it in, doesn't even begin to describe. It's so good. She's just like half asleep the entire game, but there we go. We just elbowed that man in the ribs so hard that Chinese appeared on the screen.
You've got it. Don't forget.
Keep that one in mind. We'll be using it again later. That's like the crane kick from Karate Kid type of deal.
Teach me the move.
That move will come back at a critical point at the end of the game.
Is concerned about you.
Me?
You must not fall into an evil path. Martial arts are used to keep people alive. Don't forget that. Now go on.
Dragon's elbow. I don't know. To me, it's the atomic elbow. Anyway, that's it. We're done with Hong Kong. So this game is sort of split into like 3/3 is the way I think of it. The first third being Hong Kong, the second third that we're heading to now being Kowloon, and the third being just rural China, Guilin, whatever. This is when the game starts to get very broken.
We're going.
So if anyone here has ever played this game casually before, and you recall, like, we gotta find the tournament dudes, we gotta get into the Yellowhead building, we gotta climb the Yellowhead building. There's that part where you find Yanda Zhu and he's in the dilapidated building. There's all sorts of fun stuff going on, right? We're gonna skip literally this entire section of the game. We're going straight to the top of the Yellowhead building using a very long string of glitches, so hold on to your butts. Things are about to get weird. In the meantime, though, check out this cool market. We got that guy selling some fabric. There's a dude back there selling tomato.jpg. We do have to follow Ren there, because if you get too far ahead of him, he'll shout at me. But once he passes by a certain spot on the left, we know we can just run past.
This is the Great View building.
Jan's herb shop is in this building. Let's go.
Dude, honestly, this is my favorite part of the game. The devs were not lazy. The devs are champions. I love this game so much, unironically. As much as I make fun of it, I make fun of it because I love it. Anyway, the true final boss of the game, that bell, gotta look at it. So, at this point, we would be going to some building to go who even knows what. I forget at this point. I haven't played this game casually in like 10 years.
Maps.
I have no idea where I'm going. But anyway, time to buy a map. And if you remember what happened last time we bought a map, it is time to walk through some walls. That is what buying a map means. And this is our final map. We're now down to just $6. So we are going off route here because we are about to just clip straight into the Yellowhead building, thus skipping the entirety of Kowloon. So this is... things are about to get weird. Here's what's gonna happen. First, we need to get past these stairs. This should work. It's a little sketchy. Hello? Or actually, no, wait, I got it. I got it, didn't I? Yeah, okay, perfect. I was confusing this with a different one. All right. That's a bit too close. This is better. This is really far back, but it'll do. Now we're trying to get close to the stairs, but not on them. Perfect. This should be, gotta inch up on it. That should be perfect. Let me just make sure we load the floor below us. That's actually not perfect. Okay. This might touch the, okay, no, perfect. So what I'm trying to do here is get down into the basement of the building that I'm in. And that is a lot harder said than done, but there's a bunch of load zones on the stairs that we're trying to walk through. So now we're trying to get, now that we're down in the basement, we're trying to get through a locked door in the basement. And to do that, we have to clip through the ceiling. Yeah, that didn't work. To get through the locked door in the basement, we have to go through the ceiling, which means we need to go down, then back up. So we need to get up these stairs without hitting the load zone on the stairs. I think that'll do. Perfect. That's one of the harder ones for me. But now that we're up here, at the top of these stairs, there we go. That was a fast setup as well. We're just cruising around out of bounds at the moment. I think I'll turn now. And perfect, we just clipped over the locked door and into the sewers. So that skips several hours of gameplay. I think if you're doing a glitchless run of this, I just skipped like 45-ish minutes worth of walking around. But if you're comparing against like a casual playthrough, I think I just skipped like 6 hours of content probably. That's pretty much most of the game right there that we just skipped past. Also, we just despawned that guy, don't worry about it. Just banished that guy to the Shadow Realm with my journal. That is only the beginning of the nightmare, though, because all we've really done is gotten to floor 1 of the Yellowhead building. The final boss is waiting for us on floor 40 of the Yellowhead building. And for those who have played this game before, you'll remember this part. There's like all sorts of QTEs and fights and things and looking for stuff. There's all sorts of things going on in this building. And I want to skip literally all of it and just walk up the stairs. So we have many more glitches to come. I hope you like staircases. Now things are getting really serious. This is the hardest one. Yeah. I think this has potential. Perfect, awesome, really fast. All right, all the other ones are easy. That one's just hard. The reason why that one is so hard is because we need to walk through a wall, right? And I've said it a couple times now. The way you walk through walls in this game is by doing a map glitch when you're on stairs. And the load zone is literally on top of the stairs there. So you have like 1 pixel where you can stand on the stairs to do the map glitch before you just touch the load zone and walk down the stairs, which you don't want to do.
Good.
So now we've got our way up to floor 5. We have one more unique trick to do here. Nope. We're trying to do the map glitch as we wrap around the stairs. This should work. Awesome, perfect. So now we just have to do the standard setup on a couple of floors. There's a setup we do for clipping through grates on stairs that's pretty consistent. And I have to do that on a whole bunch of these floors. Good. We're gonna do that again on floor 12. The cue I'm looking for those who want to play along at home, I start the map glitch most of the way up the steps, and then I press nothing until I see the grate in the background disappear. So like now, you can see in the background in real life, the grate at the other end of the hallway disappeared. Then I turn the compass in the top right corner until it's facing east, and then I let go. Oop, that was a bit awkward. Let's try that again. I actually don't have to do this on this floor, do I? I think floor 15 you don't have to do it on. This is just for fun. Just a fun extra one, you know, because we love doing map glitches here. There we go. I'm intentionally making this really tight because there's a weird quirk to how this whole thing works, where we want to make sure that the floor below us is still loaded in. So like right here, I just screwed up and I had to turn around to reload in the floor below me. If I screw up this trick, it's a massive time loss. Especially massive because I did not bother to look up what the backup is before I did this run. So there we go. Nothing to worry about, everybody. This is normal. So that's it. We're done with map glitches for the run. That was the last one. At this point, we've climbed up to floor 20, which is halfway up the building. And at this point, the game just gives up. So now we're just going to climb straight up to floor 40, completely unimpeded, which we do on this staircase over here. So everyone get excited for Final Fantasy VII. It's making a cameo. I know this is supposed to be a 2001 retrospective, but we're kicking it back to 97. 97? 98? I think that's 97. For some good old-fashioned stair climbing. So, yep. Welcome to Shenmue II. I don't exactly know why this happens, because there is supposed to be all kinds of stuff happening on these floors. Like, anyone who's played this game will remember that there's supposed to be a bunch of things happening here, right? But, the game just sort of gives up at some point and just lets us go to floor 40 on these sort of, like, fake floors. The actual floors don't even look like this, but it's just, you know... It's fine. We can just walk up the same floor 20 times, and that's cool too. That's another way to get to the top of the building. I'm imagining doing this in real life, and my legs are hurting just thinking about it. Almost there. What is this? 38? All right, 2 more. There we go, floor 40. And one of the humorous side effects of doing that is that the game is now thoroughly confused as to what's going on. So as we enter this door...
You gotta stay warm!
I know.
I know. Dramatic pan to closed door. And we're not gonna save Wong, by the way. Wong will stay kidnapped. Wong is a character that we don't meet in the run, but he's annoying, so he can stay kidnapped. Some more QTEs where we just throw these guys off the side of a 40-story building. Don't worry about it. I wish we threw them off. They just stay there. It would be great if you just tossed a dude overboard. That would be awesome. But here's the final boss. It's Donyu, an evil dude who we haven't met yet, but he's been doing evil stuff all game. Trust me, we just skipped it. The fastest and most consistent way to deal with Donyu is to just kick him a whole bunch. The inputs and timing on this are like way harder than they look, but when you do it correctly, it looks very silly. We're just sort of comboing Donyu with the front kick. Ugh. This isn't a true infinite combo. He can break out of this. As you can see, he's breaking out of it all he wants. Hopefully he doesn't kill me. If you get unlucky, he can actually just kill you, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it. But this has been pretty solid. Hopefully I didn't just curse it. Just one more orb. Just get kicked, please. Oh, he's doing this. There we go. Got him. See ya. So there we go. Donyu down. Sort of. I just can't stand rats. You scampering rat. You're mine. And now, as we wonder how to defeat Donyu, we think back to 5 minutes ago, which was supposed to be a lot longer ago if you played the game normally, but we just skipped like half of it. So, but we think back to what we learned from Shu Ying, the atomic elbow.
Like a polished mirror.
Like a Polish mirror. This'll finish you off. You're mine. Just Get him right in the ribs. Look at that. You get the 3 just to emphasize. And anyway, he's dead now. Don't worry about it. So that was the second of 3/3. It is now time for Guilin. So this is, I'm not quite sure how to introduce this part of the run, but I'm sure anyone in the chat who's played Shenmue II before it's sort of been in the back of your mind all run. Just, I wonder what he's gonna do to go fast in Guilin. The answer is unfortunately not a whole lot. And by not a whole lot, I mean basically nothing. So welcome to Guilin. The estimate for this run is 1 hour and 55 minutes. I think we're going to be about 5 minutes under that or so, somewhere around the 150 mark. I don't have a timer up, so I have no idea what the current time is, but I assume it's around 110 to 115 somewhere. There is no mistakes. We're going to start walking through a forest for a little bit. So yeah, this part of Shenmue 2, I want to say the lore behind this is that, so the reason why the game is like this is because Shenmue 1 and 2 were developed simultaneously, right? And they were just sort of developing Shenmue back in the day. Like, they just kind of, they just kept going. They weren't thinking, like, we make this game and it stops here. Then we make the next game and it stops here. They were just like, it's the Shenmue experience. It never stops. So they just sort of started working on this part of the game after they were done with the last part, right? And this is sort of like a good lead-in to Shenmue 3 is what it is. But then the Dreamcast failed, and then they told Yu Suzuki that Shenmue 3 wasn't happening. So this part of the game was just sort of tacked on to the end, and it's real awkward, and the pacing is real bad, and we're going to be walking through a forest for the next half an hour. So get excited, everybody.
Yo, where did you... You're not from...
No.
Japan?
It's an island.
Because, yeah, that Donyu was the final boss.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
That was the final boss, and then afterwards you have to do this.
Really?
So we're gonna cross 2 mountains. This is Shenhua. Shenhua is our new girlfriend. Nozomi moved to Canada, so we can forget about Nozomi.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
During this.
And she's gonna lead us to Guilin, or to Bailu Village, rather.
Really? A lot of them.
Yes. Let's move.
Okay. Shenfa.
Yes.
And this is typically the part of the run where I just start talking to chat about completely random things.
Don't they?
Flower.
When I start.
Why are there so?
Why?
This is like.
You drink?
Yes. You see them.
Usually the way this works is I'll be playing this game and there will be like a couple of people watching, and then everyone will show up when I'm in this part of the run, and then people only ever know Shenmue 2 for this part of the run, and it's just like this is their entire impression of the game. But we're going for a hike. This is a high intensity hike though. We're just gonna start running through the forest. So there's gonna be like 5 minutes of QTEs here. They are consistent. I don't have them written down. It's consistent with her actions as far as like, if she jumps over a pit like that, that's always A. So if you see her jump over a pit, you press A. It's that easy. I like to think that Yu Suzuki saw the Space Channel 5 devs making their really cool looking Simon Says game, and Yu Suzuki got jealous, so he put this Simon Says section in his own game. But you know, that's just my Sega 1990s fanfic.
Be careful.
Yeah, this is when we usually start talking about different types of cheese. What's everyone's favorite type of cheese? Mine is pepper jack. I'm a big pepper jack fan.
Watch your step.
Do we usually start talking about cheese? I don't know. I feel like I've spent a lot of time in life discussing types of cheese, but I don't think I've ever done it during a Shenmue 2 run. This is probably an X, yeah. But yeah, this is a real thing. I apologize. That's good though. What's everyone been up to recently? I spent like all day playing Doom 64. That's what I've been up to recently. Turns out Doom 64 is an excellent game. I'm on like the last level of that, and all the maps are just like sick. Pecorino. I can't think of pecorino cheese without thinking of the conversation about pecorino cheese from Grand Theft Auto 4. I don't know if that's like I'm just like cursed for life. I think it's like at the start of submission that I failed like a dozen times over when I played that game. So it's just like, I can't, it's just pecorino cheese. It's the Grand Theft Auto cheese. All right, that was what, section number 2? I've stopped paying attention. Yeah, that was section number 2. So this is the final stretch of QTEs. After this, we're mostly done with QTEs for the run, and we get to go back to holding the walk button. Very exciting. It is pretty different from PC Doom. It's like a completely different game. All the maps are different, and there's like a bunch of different art, and like I think the engine has some features that weren't a thing in the original Doom engine. It's pretty sick. Highly recommend it to anyone who's a fan of Doom. Check out the N64 game. Yeah, so here's my fan fiction, right? Here's my own lore that I've just inserted into the game. Shenhua, I swear she's trying to get us killed through this entire part of the run. At first, she's just trying to ditch us here, but you'll see as we get deeper into the forest, she starts taking us into increasingly dangerous situations, culminating in us having to literally jump off of a cliff. And I'm pretty sure that she's just trying to get us killed so that we can't follow her to the village. What is this, an up? Yeah.
Be careful.
Are we there yet? Oh, we're not even close. See, I feel like this makes sense if this is like the start of Shenmue 3, though, right? But this isn't the start of Shenmue 3, it's the end of Shenmue 2, so it's just, hello? Like, we just fought that dude Donu, and now we're doing this?
Sounds good.
Anyway, it's getting late, so we're gonna go to a cave. This is one of the areas that we can't tell Shenhua to hurry up through, so we just sort of have to follow her around. Yeah, so we're gonna be walking for a sec here. It gives us time to admire the great textures. Look at that beautiful rock. It's extremely mossy rocks. All right, cave time. So it wouldn't be a good game if there wasn't a picking up sticks part of the run. I feel this is my own personal game dev philosophy, because I fancy myself a bit of an amateur game dev. A game is not good unless you're picking up sticks at some point. That's like, this is required content. So sure enough, that's what we're doing in Shenmue. There's a bit of routing to this. Believe it or not, there are certain piles of sticks that we want to pick up to optimize our travel through the cave. I'm like hyping it up, and we're just picking up some sticks. But
Yeah, there seems to be
we
more.
pick up that pile, and then we're gonna go pick up 2 piles all the way in the back of the cave, which forces Rio to teleport back to the front. And then that's the correct amount of sticks to just automatically advance to the next section. Pretty cool cave, though. The game goes into first person here. Speaking of Doom, we're in first person now. You just put like a little fist at the bottom of the screen and we could start punching people.
There should be more.
Yeah, this is getting boring. Can we go back to the stairs? I haven't seen a staircase in like, I don't even know how long. I'm starting to go through withdrawal. That should be all the sticks though. I was a bit far away from the second pile, so that was a bit suboptimal, but you know, it's fine. You'd be surprised though, like going back to something I said way back at the start of the run, you would be surprised just how much time you can lose to dumb tiny little optimization things in this walking section. Like I joke about it just being a walking section, but you can straight up lose like a minute and a half here to record if you're not clean.
How do you...
Anyway, we're gonna give Shenhua the complete Shenmue lore here. All we actually need to tell her to advance things is about Nozomi. So there we go. We have one friend, and her name is Nozomi, and she moved to Canada, and that's it. We have no other friends. Those people that were listed there, those are not my friends.
It's getting late.
Goro is not my friend. That's all we gotta do for the combo, though. Just gotta tell her about Nozomi.
What was that?
Wolves.
Wolves.
Yes.
I heard that.
There's some wolves. This doesn't really amount to anything, but there are some wolves out there somewhere. And now it's daytime. Or wait, no, it's not. It's midnight. Okay, now it's daytime.
All the mountains.
But aren't they?
Yeah.
This is another section that we just kind of gotta walk through.
I see.
We'll go ahead and let autopilot do that for us this time. If you look at someone in first person, you'll just start following them around, which I'm sure must be really awkward if you do it to someone in the middle of the city, for example.
Shenpa.
Yes.
Let's hurry on.
Yes.
There we go. This is 2 hurry-ons. Now the game starts to bombard us with the unskippable cutscenes, though. I'm pretty sure in the original Xbox version, a lot of these are skippable, but it's important, the PC devs felt it was important, that we get the complete lore of Guilin. So we're going to be stopping at every tree so we can learn about the tree. And we're going to hear in excruciating detail. Now we're going forward. Yes, this is left, right, left. Also, the Shenmue devs just programmed a mini-map into their game. Patch just dropped for Shenmue guys in the middle of my run. There is now a mini-map in the bottom left corner. I don't know where that was the rest of the game. It just sort of shows up here, which I guess is fitting because this is sort of a maze-like part of the run. If I were gonna want one anywhere, it's definitely gonna be here. Oh, you know what just occurred to me? This is funny. You know what just occurred to me? Earlier in Guilin, the game could have just straight up crashed, and I forgot to save before it. I forgot to save before the most important crash point in the run. Oh well, good thing it didn't crash. Crisis averted. That could have been very bad. I actually have a backup save, though. Now that I'm really thinking about it, I have a backup save, so it wouldn't have been the end of the world if it had. That's left, right, left. Yeah, what I'm currently playing is considered the HD remaster. As you can see, it sort of looks... I mean, you know, it looks like a Dreamcast game. I love it. I unironically love the style, but it doesn't look very remastered. The game, for example, it's still running at 30 FPS. They didn't uncap the frame rate. A lot of the cutscenes still happen in 4:3 aspect ratio, even though, like, right there, the game just cuts to 4:3 sometimes for cutscenes. Let's see, where am I going here? Just straightforward.
We were right about taking this path.
Yeah, if the loads were the same, Xbox would be faster because of the extra skippable cutscenes, but
Good. Let's go.
loads are not faster, unfortunately, so here we are. I started running this game because the reason why I started running this game, I mentioned it earlier, but I'll say again, I speedrun a ton of Yakuza games. I'm big into Yakuza speedrunning, and Yakuza is sort of like this in some ways. Plus, I used to watch a streamer a long time ago who was a big fan of Shenmue and did Shenmue speedruns, and so it just sort of like got the game in my brain and the idea that you could speedrun it. So then one day I was just thinking about it, and I was like, you know, this will fit in with the other stuff I do. So I started running it. I don't know. It's pretty chill. I don't run this game all the time because this ending section is just, it gets on your nerves after a while, but it's a fun game to come back to every now and then. This is Shenhua trying to get us killed, by the way. She was really hoping we would slip and hit her head in a rock or something.
All right.
Too much of a ninja for that. You're on 4 now. Nice. Yakuza 4. Yakuza 4 has a lot in common with this game, actually, in that you have to bet all of your money on a 50-50, just like in Shenmue. Yakuza 4 is the hot meme of the community, one of them. Completely miserable speed game. If you mess up, you don't hit your head, no. If you mess up on the river, you just fall in the river, and Ryo's like, oh man, I'm all wet, and then you just keep going. It doesn't really do anything. It just wastes a couple seconds. I'm chilling though. This is a comfy game. What are we doing here? Hurry on after the Guardians. Gotcha.
The Guardians.
What's the matter?
I just bet on 0-0. Easy.
Really?
Yes. The Guardians are the sign. The landslide we saw was this way.
Oh yeah, there was a landslide, by the way. Back in a cutscene. There was a big storm and there was a landslide, and that's why we have to keep going off path and like cutting through rivers and things like that.
That's early.
Very important lore. If it weren't for the landslide, we could just take the highway, but you know, highway blocked by landslide.
Let's hurry on.
Or just an interstate running through the forest here in China in the 1980s.
Branches off.
We'll be taking a detour, but ahead there's a
A one-on-one game. Make some money with big or small. Hey boy, how's about a game?
No, I think we should hurry on our way.
Oh. All right. Let's go. This way.
Shenpa.
Yes?
That's the kind of thing that just burns itself into your brain after a while. A lot of the voice lines in this game are like that. I feel like I could probably quote like most of the voice lines in this game, at least the ones you hear in the speedrun. And I haven't even run this game that much, but it's just like, it just burns itself into your brain after a while.
The branches look like spider legs.
Now that you mention it, they do.
Whenever I'm walking back to the village,
There's the spider tree.
when I see this tree.
They call it the spider tree because it looks like a spider.
From here.
The interesting thing is, this is good lore. I can't imagine they did this on purpose. When Shenhua says we're halfway to Bailu Village, like a few lines back, this is like literally the halfway point through the forest. Like straight up, that is the halfway point. She nailed it. She doesn't even know how hard she nailed it.
Shenpa.
What is it?
We've come along.
I'm fine.
Oh,
Are you all
no.
You don't?
The path that...
Yes.
The path that you're familiar with?
A spring.
All right.
Shenpa.
Yes?
Let's hurry on.
Let's hurry on.
Yes.
Shenhua keeps trying to talk to us about stuff, and it's just, no, shut up, let's hurry on.
The path branches off again.
You, what are you doing?
Huh? Oh. The path is branching off again.
I told you, you'll be fine if you leave it all to me. This way.
Yeah, that's right. Shenpa.
Yes?
Let's hurry on.
Let's hurry on.
Yes.
A spring.
This is 5 colors spring. They call it 5 colors spring because it's 5 colors.
This spring is called 5 Color Spring.
5-color spring?
Rio asks her why it changes colors, and she's just like, I don't know. Why you want to know so much? And that's it. It's such an awkward conversation. I love it though.
The color will change soon. Look, Rio.
You can see the little fish models in the spring. Oh, it's green now, the tech. How did they do it?
Does this happen?
This is the first Stranding game. I've never thought of it that way, but I guess it is. We've got the backpack. Maybe there's just like a baby in a capsule in Rio's backpack.
Let's hurry on, Rio.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay.
Landslide again. We have to take a different path.
I'm sorry, Rio.
Anyway, this road is also blocked by a landslide. This is my pet peeve. They call it a landslide, but that is very clearly just a tree that fell down. I feel like a landslide implies like some mud and some rock or something, but that's just like a tree that fell down. They could just walk around it. I don't see what the big deal is.
We've no choice but to go this way.
You're right.
All right? I'll go first from here.
Yes, you can lead the way.
Alright, another maze section. We're going right, left, 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 right. Oh yeah, it's just the right amount of awkward, where it's just perfect. The dialogue in this game, it's just the right amount.
Wait, Rio.
Gotta pick some flowers.
What's the matter, Shenmue?
These are herbs
Herbs.
for my father.
Gotta pick some herbs for the father.
I'm sorry. I kept you waiting.
Let's go.
Let's see, we went right. So we're just chilling. We're just going through the forest. I have a bone to pick, by the way. I'll take this opportunity. This is a call-out post for another speedrunner of this game named Odysseus, who has a world record. Odysseus' guide describes this turn as going straight, and I disagree. I feel this is a left turn. So this is a call-out post. Please fix the guide. He's probably sleeping because he lives in the UK, so it's like 5 in the morning over there or something. Or I guess like 2 or 3 or something. Alright, time for Shenhua to really ramp it up though, as far as getting us killed goes. This is Shenhua's like last ditch attempt to get us to leave her alone. We are now just straight up like, look at this. Look at what she's having us do. Look at what she's having us do. Very nice. Ugh, that was bad. So if you avoid the corners, or if you avoid the edges of these bridges, you can actually avoid having the QTEs happen. I am not very good at it. That was almost good. I almost avoided that one. But if you do this perfectly, you can get away with like 1 QTE. It's pretty hard to avoid that one right there. Yeah, 3 a.m. UK time. I just spat out a number and then realized it was completely wrong. I do understand time zones, I promise. I hope. I know you guys just had daylight savings the other day over there, so.
Okay.
This is her final. Just like, maybe he'll fall. Maybe he'll fall. Shoot, he didn't fall. All right, I guess we're going to the village then.
Yo, let's move on.
Yeah. It's this way, right?
Yes.
Good. Let's go.
We gotta go right to get to the stone lions. Clipping that and sending it to him. I think I've complained about that before when he was in my chat. I'm just joking, by the way. I hope no hard feelings are interpreted by anyone.
What is this?
That's definitely meant to be a joke. But hey, look, it's the stone
It is
lions.
an ancient Chinese sign placed on the roads that branch off.
Road sign. Then
The stone lions mean we're getting real close, sort of, technically.
really?
The village is not far from here now. Let's go. Follow me.
Yeah. Shenpa,
Yes?
Hurry on.
let's hurry on.
Yes.
It's got a few more cutscenes, and then we're gonna get to Shenhua's house, and then the game becomes a thing again.
Wait, was it?
Are we lost?
No, we'll be fine. Either path will take us to the village. It's just that
What?
Yeah, just a bit more hiking to do. We're actually getting pretty close.
the paths look so much alike, I can't tell which one.
Shenhua, this is the path that she knows, and she keeps getting lost.
Yes.
He's like, which way is the village? Right is the way to the village, by the way. If you go left, it's like a detour and you get involved in some crap.
Yes.
Shenpa,
I don't want to get involved in any crap. I just want to go to Shenhua's
hurry
house.
on.
Yes. Yo, the village is this way.
Yeah. Shenpa,
Yes?
And with that, we are out of the
Let's hurry on.
forest.
Yes.
Actually, there's one more cutscene. Then we're out of the forest. Or no, we're just out. There we go. And the scene. First of all, that water is just not even moving. It's just like a lake down there.
what is that?
Rio is just like, what's that sound? It sounds like a waterfall. Is there a waterfall around here? No.
On the left.
Is there a waterfall?
All right.
No. I don't
I guess
think
that's
there
just
is
some
one
other
nearby.
waterfall sounding thing then by this body of water.
I don't know. Do you want to go find out?
No, we should keep going.
True. It's almost sundown too. This
I've
way.
just now
Let's
noticed this,
go.
but Rio's sneakers are clipping into the floor. Dude is just standing in the ground there.
Shenpa,
Yes?
Yeah, it's just painted rocks.
Let's hurry
It
up.
really is just the rock texture, but blue. But hey, we made it. I think there's one more. Yeah, one more cutscene. But we are officially done. The hike is complete. We have arrived at our destination. Yeah.
Yo. We'll be out of the forest soon.
yeah.
It won't take long now. Let's
It
move
won't
on.
take long now. So here's the lore. There's actually a bit of tech to this room, walking up to Shenhua's house. The game does not want us to get ahead of Shenhua here,
You saved me. I
but
want
we're
to-
gonna do something to try to speed it up and let us get ahead of her.
Good. Follow me.
So once she gets to that bend in the road up there, we're gonna head off to the left, and hopefully it'll just let me run straight up the hill. Like right there. So we're gonna turn, and now we pray. Please start running soon. Okay, cool. That worked. If you watch someone try to do that who doesn't know the setup, it is
What's the matter, Shenpa?
a real mess. There's all kinds of crazy invisible walls you get stuck on, and Rio like turns himself around and starts running backwards and things like that.
here when the Shenmue's flowers bloomed.
Is this house located in Bailu Village?
Yes. We're at the edge of the village.
Really?
Quit. Don't want to talk to Shenhua about anything. Oh, by the way, that tree back there is the Shenmue tree. They named the whole series after that tree, and you just wouldn't know it until the end of the second game.
What's wrong, Yo?
But there it is, the Shenmue tree. I speedrun this game not that regularly. I've been doing it recently to prepare for this run today, but for the most part, I don't like grind out Shenmue 2 or anything, just because this ending is so long. I do it occasionally. Anyway, talk to Shenhua, look at this cool drawing on her desk. I forget what that's a drawing of, but anyway, now it's tomorrow. Shenhua is about to make breakfast for 2 hours while we watch.
Shenhua.
Yo, good morning.
She's about to make the most elaborate of
I'm
breakfasts.
preparing lunch right now. Can you wait a while?
I said this on stream the other day.
All right.
I don't know what compelled me to say this, but I feel like she's cooking up a whole lasagna in there just for breakfast. Like, just pack a sandwich. What's taking 2 hours? But anyway, now we're going to the cave. The cave is where the run is going to actually end. And there's a whole elaborate Rube Goldberg machine set up in there for us. So one more walking section. Like, what's in that basket that could take 2 hours to cook? I don't know. Here we have some actually running water, by the way. Very nice. They patched in running water between now and that waterfall room. Very slowly making our way. And oh hey, look, stairs. Got some stairs in the distance. It's been a while since we saw some stairs. If only I had a map of this area, we could just clip right into the finale. We just clip straight into Bailu Village. I also love how this rock texture just looks like the goop from Super Mario Sunshine. Like, tell me I'm wrong. That rock is the goop from Super Mario Sunshine. Gonna attempt to despawn Shenhua here to run past her a bit faster. Cool. Come on. There we go. Ryo was like jammed in the wall there. It was a bit awkward. This must have been the waterfall that Shenhua was hearing earlier. Yeah, it's just one singular noodle, but it is slow cooked to perfection. Anyway, something that I love about this game, I always comment on this, but it's so good. It's so good. 99% of this game is just like straightforward, like action movie, martial arts movie type stuff. And then in the last 1% of it, they're just like, also magic is real. Like, this is the same universe that you live in, but also magic is real. And if the bad guy gets the 2 mirrors, he'll summon a dragon and destroy the world. And that's just like, all right, I guess that's legit. So now we have this cool magic sword. This game just like really cranks it up to 11 in the last 5 minutes and doesn't explain any of it. And it's just like, oh, by the way, force lightning. By the way, glowing magic red orb. It's like, what? Like, this is like, I think the premise is that Shenhua's father set all this stuff up in the cave behind their house. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't even know, man. Like, magic is real. What can I say? Like, he could have just left a note explaining the prophecy, but instead he had to build an entire Rube Goldberg machine that runs on literal magic and a giant sword and, like, crazy lasers.
Let's go.
Yes.
Time is coming up, by the way. Time is going to be when I touch the pedestal. Not now, but in about 15 seconds. The final input is beyond anticlimactic. What? Just don't get your hopes up.
Yo.
Yeah.
And time. And there you go. That's the last input of Shenmue 2. We spend half an hour walking across the entirety of China, and then we do that, and that's it. That's our reward. And now there's lasers. But anyway, there you go. That's Shenmue 2. What's my time on that? Of course, I can't check my time because of a Twitch ad, but I'm sure that was a great run. So, yeah, thanks for having me. Our Discord connection got screwed up.
It was a really great run. I'm not sure if Tapioca is able to hear me right now. He's not wrong that it did get messed up. All right, well, again, big thank you to Tapioca for holding it down tonight for y'all on tonight's speedrun of Shenmue 2. Despite the difficulties with Discord, I enjoyed myself, and if you enjoyed yourself as well, then please make sure you follow Tapioca at twitch.tv/Tapioca. Before we go, a reminder that SGDQ 2021 online is July 4th through the 11th, and game submissions are open starting tomorrow, March 31st until April 11th, so be sure to prep your submissions if you'd like to be part of SGDQ 2021 from the comfort of your own home. You can go to gamesdonequick.com for more information on that. Tomorrow we have the bargain bin, followed by speedruns from the crypt starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to tune in for that. This has been another episode of Time Capsule. I have been your host, Smooth Operative. Thank you all very much for watching. Please take care of yourselves and each other. We will see you next time. Goodbye.